for June 9th, 2014. All right, if the clerk would read the first item for original consideration.
Item number 1, a resolution supporting a New York State Department of State Local Government Efficiency Grant application to implement a shared regional code enforcement repository pilot project for cost-saving and efficiency measures.
This was discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2, a resolution supporting a grant application to New York State for improvements and expansion of Liberty Gateway Park and a seeker determination.
This was also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3, a resolution accepting HUD Section 108 loan guarantee.
Again, discussed in committee without objection on consent.
Item number 4, a resolution of the City of Schenectady in support of an application to develop and operate a gaming facility in the City of Schenectady.
This is Ladies and gentlemen, this is a regular city council meeting. If you insist on this kind of behavior, we will ask that you be removed. So I just ask your cooperation, please. All right, I assume this one we want a roll call vote? Okay.
Item number 5, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a claim by MetLife ASO Mellon.
Discussed in Claims Committee without objection on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari brought by Lupe and Deborah Rodriguez, 835 Plymouth Avenue.
Also discussed in Claims Committee without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari brought by CTW Realty, 435 to 39 State Street.
Again, discussed in Claims Committee without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a claim by Inserata Wilson.
Discussed in Claims without objection on consent. Item number 9.
Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari brought by Stockade Apartments, LLC, 613 Union Street.
Also discussed in Claims without objection on consent. Item number 10.
Item number 10, a resolution recognizing Girls Circle at Mount Pleasant Middle School.
This item will be taken out of order. Ms. Porterfield will present that. Item number 11.
Item number 11, under Contract and Supply, a resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the 2014 water line replacement.
This was discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 12.
Item number 12, a resolution of the City of Schenectady in support of using host municipality revenues from a proposed gaming facility for property tax relief.
This is an item that we are going to amend, so I will entertain a motion to move it to the agenda. Okay, Mr. Kozier, seconded by Mr. Erickson. Okay, Mr. Erickson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So this resolution, I'd like to propose that we make a couple of changes to the original considered language. In the fifth paragraph, I wanted to change the very end of it where we have is the best location in the capital region for a gaming facility to read is the proposed location in the City of Schenectady for a gaming facility. And then in the seventh paragraph, where it says the proposed construction and operation of the gaming facility on the site presents an opportunity to advance and then remove the purposes of the Gaming Act, including, so that it would read, presents an opportunity to advance increased tourism, economic development, educational funding, and so on. So those two changes were something that we all discussed. Input from every member of the council was there, and so I appreciate if we could have consideration for those changes.
Okay, is there a second to the amendment? Okay, Mr. Mudavaran, all in favor? Aye. Okay, and then this will go on as a roll call or consent. All right, I'll entertain a motion to move this to the consent agenda. Okay, Ms. Perazzo, seconded by Mr. Mudavaran, all in favor? Aye. Okay, good. Item number 13.
Item number 13, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a home rule message requesting enactment of Assembly Bill A 9844 of 2014 and Senate Bill S 7518 of 2014, continuing the tax-exempt status of Shiloh Church located at 957 Congress Street.
This was discussed in the Claims Committee meeting tonight without objection on consent. Item number 14.
Item number 14, a resolution authorizing the transfer of title to 242 Brandywine Avenue consisting of SBL 49.43.2-19.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. And item number 15.
Item number 15, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a home rule message requesting enactment of Assembly Bill A 9820A of 2014 and Senate Bill S 7514A of 2014, granting retroactive membership with Tier 2 status in the New York State and local police and fire retirement system to Vincent Verrett.
This was also discussed in Claims Committee tonight without objection on consent. All right, if there's nothing else to come before the City Council caucus meeting, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Erickson. All in favor? Aye. And I will now call the City Council meeting to order for June 9th, 2014, and I will ask you to rise for the invocation by Reverend William Levering of First Reformed Church.
Let us pray. Almighty and ever-loving God of Schenectady and Bombay, help us to understand a larger perspective of your grace. Help us to understand the common good in its broadest reach. Be with our deliberations, and may they be civil. Watch over our spirits. Save us from needless anger. Help us to talk to each other and reach deliberations that serve the purposes of all. All this we ask in your holy name. Amen.
I'm going to ask Angelo Mazzone to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, if the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Barrazo? Ms. Porterfield? Here. Mr. Erickson? Here. Mr. Kosher? Here. Mr. Riggi? Here. Mr. Mudavaran? Present. Ms. King?
Present. All right, we have one out-of-order resolution, so Ms. Porterfield.
I'd like to invite the young ladies that are here to just kind of step over there from the Mount Pleasant Girls Circle. You can hand me those, please. I'll give them that one. Then I'll hold it in my hand. Thanks. Madam President.
You have the floor.
Thank you. A resolution recognizing the Mount Pleasant Middle School girls. Whereas the Working Group on Girls, WGG, a volunteer community-based collaboration began 10 years ago and focuses locally on working together to put a spotlight on girls, facilitates programs on their behalf, and to educate the community about their needs, challenges, opportunities, and successes. And whereas one of the WGG programs is Girl Circles, which seeks to build girls' self-esteem and self-respect, expand their commitment to their education, encourage thoughtful decision-making, and expand their vision of their future options. And whereas in April 2014, an eighth grade Girl Circle at Mount Pleasant Middle School heard a presentation by Denise Stasic from the Giving Circle, a local all-volunteer nonprofit organization with a mission to connect communities to those in need with the resources to help. And whereas after hearing the presentation about the challenges that girls in Uganda face in trying to obtain an education, including a lack of basic school supplies, the members of the Girls Circle, Selena Holiday, Melissa Joda, Gayatri Prasad, Savitri Prasad, Serena Ranjam, and Rhea Rising and Brittany Smith decided to collect supplies to donate to a school in Uganda. And whereas the girls created collection boxes to place at various sites, made friendship bracelets, and wrote personal letters to the Ugandan girls who are in their same age category. And whereas on June 26, 2014, volunteers from the Giving Circle will travel to Uganda to deliver the friendship bracelets, letters, and the supplies that were collected. And whereas taking on this project speaks to the character of each of these young ladies, shows the leadership qualities they continue to develop, and help them to realize how fortunate they are to have access to a quality education. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council and the Mayor of the City of Schenectady pause in their deliberations to recognize the 8th grade Girls Circle from Mount Pleasant Middle School for their caring and compassion towards girls from another country whom they have never met, but after hearing their story, wanted to connect with them and engage in helping them pursue their education. Madam President, I'd like to move the resolution.
Is a second by Ms. Prazo. All in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
One of you going to say something? No one has anything to say. Okay, here we are. Thank you. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Savitri Prasad. I would like to thank the City Council and Mayor for giving me this award and this opportunity to be here with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say that, and the woman taking the picture is Kathy Snyder, who is works in guidance at the Mount Pleasant Middle School, and I'm Miss Draper is over here. Karen Draper, you want to raise your hand? She's one of the muses that we work with the girls together. And it's been a real pleasure working with these young ladies, and to see them take on this, and we're really invested in it, just makes us proud to be associated with them. So once again, I want to say thank you for all that you've done for the girls in Uganda. And there's a box over there, somebody can hold it up, of the boxes that they created, let them see, boxes that they created to collect the supplies. And so they did a really good job with this project. So thank you.
Again, thank you. All right, we have 4 public hearings scheduled for tonight. If the clerk would read the first one.
Public hearing number 1, regarding revisions to Chapter 248 of the Code of the City of Schenectady regarding parking large vehicles on city streets.
I have 2 people signed up to speak to this. The first one is Patricia, and I'm having trouble with the last name here, from 524 Kings Road. Okay.
Live? Yes. My last name is MacDonald. Okay. The reason I speak is because I wanted to wake everybody up. The reason I speak is I own an RV. I own an RV. I live over on Kings Road. We can't even park cars on our street because of the 18-wheelers. However, because I own the RV, and I do spend big bucks to store it off the streets. The problem is sometimes I would like to load it somewhere near my house. It's a lot easier than doing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to the other side of town. I don't think you have to forbid them. I don't think you have to make a law. I don't think you have to have the police supervise the whole thing. And I don't think it should be used to make money with permits. But I do think what you could do is simply not allow overnight parking. It would solve the whole problem. The write-up in the newspaper, anyway, was brought up by one guy who was really upset because the RV parked there week after week after week after week after week. Okay? If it's worried about storage, there's a very simple way to do it without trampling on everybody's feet in the city that does own an RV. Thank you.
Thank you. Tony Bonhomme, and I believe Tony may be in the outside area if someone would just call his name. Okay.
Tony Bonhomme, Bellevue. This RV thing, I read in the paper there, they were talking about 36-footers on the roads, on the streets. And city lots, two lots next to me are, not lots, but the houses are 30 foot each. So, I mean, you put a 36 RV in front of them, I mean, you're past their house. Plus, I went up 3rd Avenue in Mount Pleasant the other day there, and there's an RV on the road. They look terrible out there. If you got to sit in your house and look out and all you see is an RV sitting in front of you, I mean, I don't think that's right. We had a Penske truck out across the street from us. Every time we'd sit in a chair and we'd watch television, look out the window, all you see is that yellow shining in on you. I mean, I don't believe they're supposed to be on the streets, and the RVs, if they park them on the street on a Monday, they're going to be there all week long because they're going to be using them for the weekend or whenever they go away. So I'm thoroughly against it, please. And take my name off that yellow list. I'm not going to be here that long, Beck.
Okay.
And one other thing, Saturday is Flag Day. Please observe it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have no one else signed up to speak on public hearing number 1. I'm going to declare that public hearing closed. I have no one signed up to speak on the public hearing regarding the parking meter. If the clerk would just read that for clarification.
Public hearing number 2 regarding revisions to Chapter 248 of the Code of the City of Schenectady regarding parking meters.
Again, I have no one signed up to speak. I'm going to declare that public hearing closed. If the clerk would read number 3.
Public hearing number 3 regarding revisions to Chapter 138 of the Code of the City of Schenectady regarding building inspections.
I have no one signed up to speak on that public hearing and declare that public hearing closed. And public hearing number 4.
Public hearing number 4 regarding revisions to Chapter 210 of the Code of the City of Schenectady regarding rental certificates.
I have one person signed up to speak. That's Jason Plank.
Jason Plank, City of Schenectady, Madam President, City Council Mayor. On the rental certificates itself, I don't believe the city should be getting involved. Under the current federal regulations, the rental inspections are done by HUD themselves, and it is done as a free service. And the reason why is because the landlord has to fill out a booklet of forms in order to be able to process the piece. And that's one of the reasons why the Section 8 vouchers are done. The Section 8 vouchers were put in place under President Ford's administration, and it was to help move people out of public housing and to be able to go out in the open market. And it was also to be able to eliminate some of the developers and the contractors that were trying to do to isolate and segregate the population. And so, I mean, basically this piece here needs to be pulled back and hopefully not be supported by the City Council. I heard a rumor that from several of the City Council members that the HUD was saying that they would shut down. The local city of Schenectady would shut down. Well, if they shut down, then that means HUD Buffalo or HUD down in New York City would come in and would run the place. So there shouldn't be any fear from that point of that there's going to be none there. You also got to remember, we're 650 rental certificates short of Section 8 vouchers for persons with disabilities. We're at little to no accessible housing whatsoever. And this City Council and the county for the last 10 years have allowed the developers and contractors to build non-accessible housing and non-affordable housing and use federal money in order to do it, like the Restore New York grants and use pilot programs and so forth. So we need to move back from that and be able to move towards affordable and accessible housing. We need to have a housing plan. Also, too, is that the county did not, in their budget for 12, 13, and 14, did not reallocate their fair housing coordinator. So we don't even have a fair housing outside the city limits at all. So we have no coordination whatsoever. So I'm hoping that the rental certificates that this will die on the vine. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, I have no one else signed up to speak on that public hearing. I'm declaring that one closed. We will move on to approval of the minutes from the May 28th meeting. Mr. Kosher, seconded by Ms. Perazzo. All in favor? Aye. Communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Monday, June 9th, 2014. From the Mayor, a list of appointments dated June 9th, 2014. A letter from Paul LaFond, Director of Water and Wastewater, recommending the award of the contract of the 2014 Waterline Replacement Project to Carver Construction, Inc. of Altamont, New York. Under the category of general, there are several letters for and against the casino proposal. There is also a letter from business owners and a statement on casino gambling, and all are included in the packets that are available at the rail.
Okay, thank you. I also would just ask maybe a couple of you who are by the doors, if there are any older people outside who may have trouble standing, we've got a few seats right here. Okay. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Mr. Erickson.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Madam President. Just in the committee report, I wanted to take the opportunity to just briefly explain what we did earlier in this meeting, or actually just prior to the council meeting, regarding the amendments that I made to the legislation. So, everyone, most of the people that are here are waiting for the public comments on the casino, and there are clearly people who are for it and against it. This is legislation that the council has several members of the council have put together, myself included, as someone who's very interested in it, where we're talking about a casino, and there's two sides of it, right? So there's a lot of people who are against the casino, but we're not voting on a casino. That vote occurred last year at election time, right? So there was a referendum at the state level of where do we put a casino. And so we're going to get a casino someplace. It's just the determination of where that casino is going. And it will be in the capital region. It'll be 20 minutes from our house. So this legislation that I put forward here that we put on the consent agenda that I just wanted to explain is more of a commitment of where that revenue would go if the city of Schenectady actually got a casino. So this is not a endorsement of a casino specifically. It's more or less a commitment from the council and people to say where would that money be spent, how would it be done. So just wanted to at least bring that up, and I think people might have missed it. It was kind of hectic here at the beginning, so I just want to make sure that everyone understood what was happening. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Any other committee reports? All right. If not, then we will move to privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I'd just like to make a few comments before I start calling on people. First of all, I want to remind everyone that item number 4 on the agenda is simply a resolution of support for the proposal for a casino. It is not an ordinance. It is not changing anything in the city code. And as the result of that, it does not require a public hearing. For those of you who have signed up to speak, I would ask that you respect the 3-minute time limit, that you respect one another, and that if your comments are the same as an earlier speaker, please consider just stating that rather than repeating what has already been said. And I would also remind you that your comments need to focus on the issue of a casino. This is not a vehicle for personal attacks on anyone who has been associated with this process. I will also ask that you refrain from applause. I probably have close to 80 people signed up to speak. And if you want to applaud after every one, we are going to be here very, very late. So before we start, I'm going to invite Dave Bucco to step forward just to introduce our guest and just give a very brief recap of this whole process.
Madam President, Mr. Mayor, council representatives, as well as city staff and the public, What a great turnout, and I'm glad the public is very interested in this project. I'd like to introduce our guests here today from Rush Street Gaming, Neil Bloom, the chairman of Rush Street Gaming, and Greg Carlin, the CEO of Rush Street Gaming.
Can they be held to 3 minutes apiece?
Excuse me.
Excuse me. This project, the Rivers Casino and Mohawk Harbor and Resort, is part of the redevelopment of a former brownfield Alco site, approximately 57 acres. The project in the aggregate is close to $500 million. The Gillespie Group is the developer, and we're going to be doing the north side of the project, respective of whether we do a casino or not. New York State has put out an RFP or RFA for sightings of 4 casinos through the state. We have made an agreement with Rush Street Gaming to site a $300 million casino on the south side of Mohawk Harbor. Putting this property back on the tax rolls, the casino will be done with no public money. I encourage the public to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, when I call you, if you would please again state your name and your address. First person is Mary Mclean. Did you not sign up? Yes. Okay.
Good evening. My name is Mary McLean. I live in the city. Item number 4 on tonight's legislative agenda calls for a resolution of the City of Schenectady in support of an application to develop and operate a gaming facility in the City of Schenectady. I am asking City Council to vote no on item number 4. I do not support the resolution. I have had a great deal of experiences with casinos. In 1969, my husband worked on a project for General Electric at the Nevada Proving Grounds. My children and I accompanied him on one of his trips. We lived on the upper floor of the casino along the Sunset Strip and observed the gaming scene. Approximately 35 years later, the first casinos opened in Atlantic City. I was there. Casinos did not bring prosperity to the city. The slums are still there. Prostitution is wide open. The woman of the evening is aggressive and in your face. I've seen it happen. Regarding employment, the presenters did not mention the incidences of employee theft surrounded by all that money every day. The temptation is too great so that the casino workers steal from the house. The consequences are great. No job, lost reputation, and jail time. Also, the claim of big salaries is misleading. In some cases, salaries include tips. The tips are put in a common pot and distributed among the workers at the end of the pay period. My sisters were dealers at the casinos in Atlantic City. If they wanted to stay to play the one-armed bandits, they had to remove their uniforms. It was an image thing. My nephews were union carpenters. They got lots of work at the casinos. They did not feed the machines. Last but not least, there are the children.
Ms. McLean, I need you to summarize. Your time is up.
Children are allowed on the casino floor. Parents bring them, but the children are not allowed on the casino's floor. Parents bring them. They sit on the floor in the halls and wait for their parents to get finished.
I need you to summarize, please.
Farms, families, and individuals.
Okay, thank you. Angelo Mazzone.
Good evening. I'm Angelo Mazzone, past chair of the Board of the Chamber of Schenectady County. On behalf of the Chamber, its Board of Directors, and our 1,000 business members, the Chamber enthusiastically endorses the proposed river casino at Mohawk Harbor, a premier entertainment destination on Schenectady's historic riverfront. The Chamber Board of Directors voted unanimously to pass a resolution in support of the Glessy Group Rush Street Gaming Partnership in the development of the Mohawk Harbor, which includes development and the building of a casino. The board looked at three major considerations. First, the Chamber Board of Directors noted there will be a casino in the capital region. Thus, the Chamber would like Schenectady, both the city and the county, to be the recipient of more than $300 million investment and $11.5 million per year the project will generate in operating fees. The project will also help to diminish the escalation of the largest tax Schenectady County businesses pay, property taxes, and by providing a significant increase to property tax revenue from the casino. Add to that the increased revenue from sales tax and the increased hotel occupancy taxes due to the 275 new hotel rooms. This project will have a significant and positive financial impact for schools, municipal services, and the community quality of life programs for both Schenectady City and County residents and businesses. 2, job creation. The Chamber Board believes that this project will create 1,000 new permanent jobs in Schenectady County. We look at the three communities where Rush Street Gaming has other casinos in the United States and are confident that the projection of 1,000 jobs is realistic. Each of the three other casinos in the United States have provided 1,000+ jobs. Significantly, we're happy to note that these jobs offer a living wage with a minimum annual salary of $42,000 per year. The Philadelphia Business Journal, the Chicago Business Tribune listed the local Rush Street Gaming casinos as one of the top workplaces several years running. The third major reason for the Chamber's support is that Rush Street Gaming and the Glessy Group supports the Fair Game Coalition, which Proctor's is the founding member. Schenectady County Community College Culinary Arts and Casino Gaming Management programs will also benefit greatly, providing a trained workforce to support the River Casino at Mohawk Harbor. The impact of river casinos in Mohawk Harbor will further diversify the bustling arts and entertainment industry located in downtown Schenectady, create more jobs outside the casino, and offer increased opportunity for destination and marketing of Schenectady County. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank Gilmore.
Good evening. I'm a resident of the city. Employers typically use a number to calculate annual income for prospective employees. It's the number 2080. What it means is 40 hours a week times 52 weeks. The recession diminished a lot of jobs throughout the entire country, and it certainly hit the Capital District. Each month, new jobs are being added at both the federal and local level, but many are not working at a living wage. A worker at a fast food establishment, if they make the $8 an hour minimum wage, will, applying the 2080 rule, earn $16,640. That is, that's your only major source of income, and you're devoting your annual effort to a full-time job. That's not really a living wage. The Rush Street Gaming establishment has referenced a number of more highly trained jobs that really fit a broad spectrum of the population of Schenectady. There are many very talented, capable people who are not necessarily tooled to some of the specialty trades of the Capital District. However, if they are successful in winning a job at the casino, if you apply the 20/80 rule to a $20 an hour job, that is $41,600. If you up the hourly rate because of extra capabilities or talents or education or personableness, the 20/80 rule will earn you just about $50,000. These are living wages, and there are a lot being offered by what seems to be a very, very reputable established company. So it's good economic development, and it fits very, very well with what's happening in the city in terms of entertainment and hospitality, and I endorse it.
Thank you. The clerk has also asked if any of you are reading from prepared remarks, if you would consider passing them to one of the council members so the clerk will have them for the record. Joe Rodriguez.
Good evening, everyone. I'm in full support of the casino in the city of Schenectady for a couple of reasons. One is I personally travel just as recent as May to Atlantic City. I've seen the difference from 1994 until what it is today. The city is going to benefit, and I hope that the city doesn't let this slip. But forget it, Mr. Erickson was correct. It's not that the city and we approve it or anything. It's the fact that I hope the state chooses Schenectady, because this is what's going to improve the city. Because of the people that are saying no are those same ones that are going to sit here and blame the politicians, or excuse me, the council members or the mayor, and say, how come we're lacking this and how come we're lacking that? And when the mayor and the council try to explain why, well, why is because we don't have enough money and our taxes are so high, and then our taxes continue to grow. Here's an opportunity where maybe the city can start having some extra revenue, especially for education, which is very important, and to improve a lot of the neighborhoods. I seen what Atlantic City transformed into in over the 25 years that I've been going there personally. I also say that the people that are going against it and saying no, and saying they don't want to take a chance or a gamble, how many of them receive something in the mail that says scratch off here and see if you're a winner? And they scratch and say, wow, I won. But they gamble on that. But they don't want to gamble on the future of the city of Schenectady, which is really important because you have to look at the future and our children. We're not thinking about the future, we're thinking about the moment. Think about the future. That's important. Let's improve our neighborhoods, Hamilton Hill, Vale Community, Mount Pleasant. We always complaining, personally myself, I do too. But here's an opportunity to receive, I don't know, $3 million, whatever it is a year. I think, and a perspective for the citizens, and I'm part of the citizen of the city of Schenectady, I hope in good conscience, not just the council, but the state chooses Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Misik.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Stephen Misik. I live here in the county. I'm a member of Labor's Local 157, and I'm a board member of our county IDA. I'm here tonight. First of all, let me dispel a myth that's going around the room that the gaming corporation bought outside union people to come and talk to you today. Every man and woman in the back and against this wall all live and work here in the capital region, just to dispel that myth. I'm here to talk about the construction jobs that this project would bring to us, and just the money itself in the area. You know, we need it for our schools, we need it for our infrastructure, and let's face it, projects like this drive economic development. which in turn drives more jobs. Okay, like you said, the median income is $42,000. That's life-changing money to some people here in this area, and I hope you guys are in full support of this resolution, and vote yes tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. James Stanhard.
Good evening. James Stanhard, 27 Keeter Drive. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, I am before you as a representative of Carpenters Local 291 in Albany. We have 200 plus residents and members of the local who would benefit greatly from this project. Not only just the short-term construction jobs, but the long-term hospitality jobs and tax relief that would bring to the county we desperately need. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Mincher.
Good evening. My name is Mark Mincher. I'm a business representative for the operating engineers, Local 158. This project will provide employment opportunities for our members, and we are in favor of this casino. And I think that Schenectady not only needs this, but wants this casino. Thank you.
Thank you. The last name looks like Harsha.
How are you today? Just a little introduction to myself. I grew up in Cobleskill, but I moved to Albany as part of a marketing and advertising degree at St. Rose. After 10 years in hospitality, I just this September entered the Schenectady County Community College Casino and Gaming Management program. It offers a great opportunity for us here, if you do support the casino, to not only use the program or the casino for internships and as a resource moving forward in our career, but as Mr. Mazzone had mentioned, it does create over 1,000 jobs, and a lot of people look at that as all gaming jobs, but it's much more widespread than that. It's going to be jobs in hotels, restaurants, but further than that, travel and tourism, marketing, human resources, advertising, and not only that, a big problem that I hear is graduates in this area don't want to stay in this area because the opportunities aren't here. So, it was mentioned earlier that a casino is coming to the area anyway. Why not have it be Schenectady, where you have the resources from the school for employment? We also offer me to pursue my dreams, staying close with local family and friends. I strongly say yes, and I hope you support us on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheila Sparrigan.
Hi, I'm Sheila Sparrigan from Schenectady, and I was born and raised here and married a fellow Schenectadian and raised my large family here as well. I'm a multiple business owner and taxpayer in downtown Schenectady for a private family company which was established in the 1920s. I have watched throughout the years a productive city neglected, abandoned, and literally fade away. My generation inherited a decaying city where once stood jewelry shops, restaurants, and large bustling department stores, all closing their doors, leaving empty, vacant buildings, a chapter of Schenectady's history most Schenectadians will never forget. Fast forward, today, we are now embracing a downtown revitalization, enjoying multiple restaurants of different ethnic fares and businesses of many different facets, dotting State Street and the surrounding areas. The once quiet streets are now active, filled with people, just like the prior years of my youth. I encourage the council to approve the casino at Mohawk Harbor. Please give our youth the opportunities they so deserve. Let's offer them exciting scholarships, apprenticeships, internships. Let's SCC flourish as well as other local institutions. Jumpstart their careers in retail, restaurant, hotel, and casino management through Mohawk Harbor and Rush Street gambling. Council members, don't let another student graduate and disappear to our large cities, as some of my family and friends' children have done so, seeking out job careers and more exciting, positive lifestyles. We need to afford our youth the same challenges and privileges, purchasing homes, enrolling their kids in the school districts, serving our local communities in charitable organizations, and elsewhere. Council members, let's not let Schenectady go dark again. Vote yes for the sake of our children and for the next generation. Thanks.
Thank you. Peter Stearns.
Good evening. My name is Peter Stearns. I'm business manager of Labor's Local 157 out of Schenectady. And this job means a lot of jobs for our members. And that's one good thing. And not only that, I've been in this job for 8 to 9 years, and I can see what Schenectady has become already. And with this job, it's not only what it will do now, what it will do in the future. I think it'll bring a lot more opportunities in the future to Schenectady. And a lot of times you hear at these debates that it's a short-term job, it's temporary. Well, the construction jobs are temporary. And that's because everything we build gets built and we move on to something else. So every job we have is temporary. But the one thing that is permanent with our guys is the benefits that we obtain today. When we retired, that 1 or 2 years worth while we build that specific project goes to our pension plans. And we don't have to be on public assistance as retirees, and we actually don't take off the system, which is a good thing, and I feel bad for people that don't have jobs like these. So to have good jobs come into any community is a good thing, and I think I'd like to see support on this resolution. And thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Josh Shaw.
Hello, I'm Josh Shaw from Labor's Local 157. This project would bring a tremendous amount of good-paying construction jobs to local people in the community. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe, is it Marcia Pompilio?
Good evening. My name is Marcia Pompilio. I'm from the Woodlawn area. I'm against the casino in Schenectady. Everybody hears the pros about it, but they don't really listen to the cons and how it will affect the environment, the house devaluation, affect the children, young people that are be so close to pull them towards gambling, and the environment as far as solicitation, crime. We'd have to put increase our taxes to carry the crime. And as far as helping our taxes, the New York State's gambling tickets are the highest in the nation, and yet it hasn't done a thing for us, for our schools. We're still looking for more money in New York State, and yet it's the highest solicitation of gambling tickets. So I'm thoroughly against it for the environment and what it'll bring to the Schenectady, the beautiful, long-standing historical area.
Thank you. Phyllis Smalls. Phyllis, okay.
Hello to the council. My husband and I raised 3 children, 3 college graduates. They all left and went to other states. And when I go to those other states, they now have their children, of course, there too, who are attending colleges. My husband and I are still here, but our taxes continue to rise so that we're not really sure if we can continue to maintain our property taxes in the future, because we're both aging and the population in Schenectady is aging. People who have college graduates or high school graduates Those children leave here because they're seeking other places for a livable wage that they can bring up families, and they're leaving for other states and places. Because we need so many other things in the city, we need our roads to be repaired, our sidewalks. These are quality of life issues. We cannot afford them. Unless we can attract young families into this city who will be able to establish their own homes, raise their families, and have a livable wage to live off of, they're not coming here to Schenectady. GE no longer provides those jobs that once were here. The surrounding areas no longer provide those jobs. And I'm saying yes to this proposal because we have to look to the future. And our families, we want them to be able to stay in Schenectady. Schenectady is a beautiful, beautiful city. It can still be a beautiful city maintained. Legislation has to be put in place that the revenues that will be coming in from this project will be used in certain areas that really need the money to go to, such as roads and sidewalks, and fixing our parks, and having places where young people can go. And I'm urging the council to please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Carotta.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I am against this proposal for a casino, and I especially urge you to vote no. The reason why I'm against it is not the fact of the jobs. I'm for the jobs, for the money to stimulate the city economy and all that. Jobs, I understand. Well, I'm against this because City of Schenectady, much as wonderful as it is, and historical city, had placed various historical awards and all that. This list right here and another list, we're number 89 in the top 100 cities of crime ridden, and number 10. Thing is that this casino is going to invite more crime in the city. Bad enough as the city is as it is, and I respect the mayor trying to come up with ways, trying to revitalize downtown, what have you. I understand it. But the thing is, what I don't understand is what you people need to understand here is that this residents, let it be Hampton Hill neighborhood, which I'm part of, I'm living sometimes on the edge of that very dangerous neighborhood, and other neighbors in this city, they're crime ridden. The thing is that this casino, bad idea. The reason why it's a bad idea is because, one, the city maintenance who tried to fix the streets constantly got their bridges deteriorated, that's over 100 years old. The maintenance are outdated equipment, needing equipment to fix roads and all this. And the thing is, last year, we all know how bad it gets around here in the wintertime. Roads don't get plowed. The main roads, yes, State Street and all that, yeah, they get plowed. But the other secondary roads, like Albany Street and all that, don't get plowed at all. And the thing is that you want to revitalize the city. You want to bring more jobs in and all this. This casino is a bad idea. We need better ideas to get jobs in. And as the other resident just said, more place for youth and all that. You got to go to Albany for that. You want people in here and all this. Thing is that there's only one person on the city council doing the job, right there, Mr. Riggi. He's the only one doing the job. Mr. Mayor, you ain't doing the job. You need to start listening to the residents. Because the residents like me are fed up with the crime that's happening in the city. And that's why all I got to say, because I'm against the casino.
Okay, thank you. Elaine Willie.
Good evening, it's Elaine Willie. I'm on 1571 Bradley Street. I am very proud to be a tax-paying citizen in the city of Schenectady. not a big business person or a politician. My voice has a right to be heard, and you need to hear me. I choose to be proud of my city, and I am proud of the historical stockade and all hard-working small business owners. I believe a gambling casino will just add to more crime and feed addictions, taking advantage of poor citizens. You know, as well as I do, that this will not lower our taxes, but just transfer money around, putting money into richer pockets while continuing to bleed taxpayers and feeding others' addictions. In the long run, it will bring more crime and higher our taxes to fighting even more crime. Us taxpayers, hardworking business owners, and even community volunteers truly care about this city and will not, for 1 minute, be conned into supporting a casino in this city. We will not be silenced. There are many, many valid concerns, points, and opposition against this. Please listen heavily, because there are more people opposed. Do not gamble with our city's future and vote no to a casino in Schenectady. Thank you for listening. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Rudy Grant.
Good evening, Madam President, Mayor, and City Council. I'm representing the business people of the city of Schenectady. We moved here, we opened our first store in 1998. We were in the old Center City building, downtown Schenectady. At that time, it was before the revitalization had started, and the downtown was in very bad shape. We had very few customers coming in, and it was very scary downtown at the time. We did have the opportunity to move over to Union Street, where we have been since 2000. Our business is doing well. We would like to see more retail in Schenectady. The Metroplex Authority has done a magnificent job in bringing new buildings, revitalizing the 448th Street, and now they're going to be doing Lower State Street. They've brought in restaurants, which has brought people. The last phase of the formula is retail. The casino is going to bring 1,000 new members, new people living in the city, shopping in the city. This will make our business thrive. It'll make more businesses come to the city, so more people will go downtown. We are in support of this motion, and we heavily recommend that you pass it. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Escator? Okay, Escabar.
Hello, my name is Michael Escabar. I'm a 32-year-old resident of Schenectady, born and raised. I'm here to share with you the importance of the Rivers Casino and why it should be built in Schenectady. I have been in the hospitality industry for about 5 years, and I will always be in favor of an amazing attraction of leisure, gaming, and hospitality. Having an attraction such as the Rivers Casino will gain the attraction of tourists, guests, and possibly celebrities. This kind of facility will be able to host certain events of importance, such as galas, giveaways, fundraisers. You know, who knows, it's pretty much endless what it could provide. With all these outstanding factors of business and tourism, there's no doubt that this will boost our economy. Job growth and opportunity are very important facets of our economy, and having the Rivers Casino will provide so much opportunity. And I am a hardworking individual, and I've seen people fail trying to get good jobs, and I know it's hard for families nowadays to pull things together, and I really do believe that this is the next step for Schenectady to improve and grow the economy, and I just think it's a really smart idea, so I am in favor. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mary Lou Beister, I'm pronouncing this right? Again, Mary Lou, it looks like Mary Lou Beister on 18 River Street. Marty, I'm sorry.
Well, good evening. My name is Martin Beister. I have a home on 18 River Street in Schenectady in the floodplain. I live in Fishkill, New York, but I've been here in the city for over 72 years in one way or the other. I'm not opposed to the casino, but I believe that the development of the Alco property will affect my property adversely from the point of view of flooding. Right now, I don't know enough about the development, but I would like to take this opportunity to caution the city that they meet up to their responsibility to protect the neighborhood from the increased risk of flooding and require require what is reasonable to reduce that risk. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Ann Rashido.
Good evening, all. My name is Mary Ann Rosito, and I live in East Front Street. I'm up here because I want to clarify a few things that have been said about me in the past week. Number one, I do not have a degree in gambling. I have a degree in hotel restaurant management, and I am very excited about this project because I think it gives the students of SCC an opportunity to stay home with their parents in our city and get a good job. Number two is, it's been said that East Front Street is desperate, and that's why they want this development. This is not true. East Front Street is excited about this development. We see the vision, and we are so grateful to David Bucco and to Rush City Gambling and Mr. Galisi for seeing this site and wanting to build this great project in our city. And I really hope that you will pass this, and I thank you.
Thank you. David Giacalone.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, Madam President. First, I'd like to present the down payment on our the petition that we've only been running for about 4 or 5 days now. But this is a copy each for each of the members of the council and for the mayor. And there were 187 signatures here, but to give you an idea of how much people you don't know about want to do this, I got 60 more signatures since I've been here tonight. And these are people who you really didn't give a chance to say anything in a public hearing. And a public hearing, if you have one, isn't just for venting. It's for telling you of honest concerns so that you will look into them. And I really don't think that there's been enough thought given to the reams of research and experience about the things that are negative that come with a casino. And I think if you did, you'd decide that we're not desperate enough to take that risk, to risk Schenectady's future in order to get, there'll be some money, but how much and for how long, it's very hard to say. And as the petition mentions, we believe that a lot of businesses are going to have trouble, and they may not be the ones that are fancy and are indebted to Metroplex or anything, but there are ones that provide all sorts of leisure market entertainment, and that also provide things like food and rent. I was talking to some landlords the other day, and every single one of them was against this. And mostly it was for more philosophical reasons, but a lot of them know that an awful lot of their renters are not going to have rent on a lot of months because of this casino. There is no dispute on either side of this that problem gambling doubles within a 10-mile radius of a casino very quickly. So I wish that you guys had given more thought to things like the DUI and the drugs and the prostitution that are going to be brought to our neighborhoods. I'm from the Stockade. I started worrying about the Stockade because I really think it's going to have lots of traffic and crime that it doesn't now have. But as I read more, it became clear to me that there are so many other reasons that I couldn't just keep my focus on the Stockade, that the whole city is going to be poorer for it in many ways. Thank you.
Thank you. Betty Murphy.
Good evening. I'm Betty Murphy. I live on Glenwood Boulevard. I've lived there for 30 years. The casino will show no reduction in taxes. There will be no long-term jobs. The jobs will be minimum wage at best. Surrounding areas will not benefit. Restaurants will only suffer due to the fact that gamblers will not leave the casino. They will eat in the casino. Anyone coming to Schenectady to gamble is not interested in anything but gambling. They do not want to go to Proctor's or any of our restaurants. How anyone can think this is a good idea is simply not being realistic. Anyone who wants to take a stand on an issue should really know how to spell the issue. Casino has only one C. It has been stated that the casino will spur economic growth. The fact is, there is a history of economic decline where casinos are built. There is only devastation and poverty. The jobs will not be long-term. The jobs will be only to build, not to maintain. The maintenance of the casino will not make anyone economically stable. In Connecticut, Foxwood and Mohegan Sun have instituted collecting gambling debts by imposing liens on their property, on the gamblers' properties. Now I ask you, do we want this for our residents to be involved with getting liens on their houses? In 2006, a lien was placed on 45 Clark Road, the home of Lewis Carter. He was 80 years old. He owed $36,000 in gambling debts. His income per month was $640 from Social Security. Foxwoods put a lien in 2007 for a repayment of $30,600 on Carter's house. The casinos extended credit to Mr. Carter above and beyond what was at all reasonable. Mr. Carter declared bankruptcy. He had very few personal assets, and how sad is it that what is a multi-million-dollar business for someone to take advantage of an 80-year-old man who had an addiction and not the means to support that addiction. He died at 84 years old with nothing. Are you telling me the casino here will not be like that? Are you telling me that was just one isolated incident?
Ms. Murphy, I need you to summarize, please.
I will. Thank you. There are many more such cases. This is not just one case in Connecticut. There are many, many more, both in Connecticut and Massachusetts. I thank you for your time, and I hope this proposal will be voted down by our city council.
Thank you. Mohammed Hafez.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council member, I'm here to ask you to vote no for the casino proposal. Why? Because studies have shown that the benefit of a casino to the host community are short-term, while many of the other costs of the high costs of the casino are long-term. Casinos are associated with a range of negative health, economic, and social problems. To state a few, I'm citing the Council on Casinos report. It was published by so many college professors a couple of years ago. Living and working close to a casino increases the chance of youth becoming problem gamblers. Casinos contribute to the destruction of families. Problem gambling affects family and communities as well as individuals. Young people are viewed as the future of casino gambling. Casinos typically weaken nearby businesses. Casinos typically hurt property values in the host communities. There's a note here, I have to go to bankruptcy page. Well, casinos also declare bankruptcies. Trump Entertainment Resort filed for bankruptcy 3 times in 1991, 2004, and 2009. How are they going to live up to their commitment? How are they going to decrease our property taxes if they declare bankruptcy? Trump Plaza was sold in 2013, last year, for $20 million. You know how much it was assessed for in 2010? $1.66 billion, okay? $20 million because it was bankrupt. So casinos declare bankruptcies, and they're not going to live up to their commitment. On May 28, 2014, the Bethlehem Town Board passed a resolution against a proposed casino in neighboring Albany. Not even in their town, but in neighboring Albany. Or, they included that, or any nearby town in the Capital District. You want to know why? Because they realized that a casino in a neighboring town is dangerous to their kids and their town anywhere in the Capital District. I certainly hope that you will do the same for the sake of our kids and vote no for the proposed casino. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to have trouble with this name. The first name is Harsh, and it looks like Wizeria. Am I even close? This is a person who lives on Reuter Drive. Again, Harsh, Wijesuriya. No. All right. We'll move on then to Richard Firo.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Mayor, I'm a lifelong resident of Schenectady, and unfortunately I witnessed the significant erosion of the tax base through the 70s, 80s, and 90s in the city. Services had to be cut back, workforces had to be cut back through attrition and layoffs. And then we had the Metroplex. And we started to see a little bit of a rebirth in downtown Schenectady. And it was not only Proctor's that brought for the first time world-class an entertainment venue to little old Schenectady. We started to develop some bars and restaurants, and Metroplex was chided for only developing bars and restaurants. But now we have companies that have moved into downtown. Siemens was one of the first. And most recently, you get a company like TransFinder building a multi-million-dollar corporate headquarters smack dab in the middle of downtown. There's going to be a casino somewhere in the Capital District. People are going to gamble whether they drive 15 minutes or an hour and a half to Turning Stone. I would hope that you vote in support of this resolution to bring those entertainment dollars to Schenectady, like we brought the Proctor's dollars and all the spending that comes off of that from all those new people in Schenectady. We even have people living in apartments in condominiums in downtown Schenectady. 10 years ago, that was unheard of. And now they're not only living there, they're paying a pretty high rent for some beautiful apartments. And I would hope that you will vote yes to increase the momentum that we have going, and that you support the casino at the harbor. Thank you.
Thank you. Nick Barber. Nick Barber. Chris Sparrigan.
Hello, City Council. I'm Mayor McCarthy. My name is Chris Sparrigan. I'm a president of Schenectady Harbor Electric, a downtown-based company. As someone who was born and raised here, nothing frustrates me more than when people talk about Schenectady in the past tense. When family or friends talk about the glory days of the bustling city and how vibrant it is, it kind of frustrates me. After I graduated from college in Boston, I came back here and started working. That was over, it's funny, a decade ago. And Schenectady had a negative connotation. That being said, I still love Schenectady because I grew up here and have family here. It is my home. But most of the young professionals, or millennials is I guess what we're called, they left this area because there were no jobs or the cost of doing business was too high. I have a long list of people who grew up in the county, and they would have stayed here if they were afforded certain employment opportunities. Today, they are successful in their careers, taxpayers, homeowners, and, of course, leaders in their community. This project, like many that Gillespie have been involved with, gives Schenectady another business employer. Business creates more business. This trickle-down effect of tourism destination is a first for the city. My great-grandfather moved to Schenectady from New York City because of the opportunities. He went to Union College and then ended up settling here. A lot has changed since 1923, but the city has gone through good and bad times and adapted just like our firm. This casino is an opportunity. Gambling got passed in New York State. It will be a job creator for our city. Please give Rush Gaming and Gillespie the okay to try to win this site for our city. It's not over, it's not a done deal. You have to allow them to do what they do best, and is create opportunities for Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Andy Sales.
Good evening. My name is Andy Sales. I'm a downtown business owner and a Front Street resident. I've heard a lot of people say tonight that young people don't want to move back to this area because there aren't opportunities, and I used to be one of those young people. I grew up in Ballston Lake, and from the outside looking in, I didn't see a future in Schenectady. But my family told me of a great history of Schenectady. My great-grandfather was a police officer here. My grandfather was a teacher, a principal, and an assistant superintendent in the Schenectady School District for a number of years. My father and my uncle both graduated from Schenectady, and my father still works in Schenectady today. And when I graduated college, I saw a future here. I have seen the progress over the last 15 years, the work my dad and others have put in downtown Schenectady. And I saw progress, and I saw an opportunity and a future for myself here. I wish that you could extend that opportunity to other people. I wish that, like myself, you vote yes for progress, yes for jobs, and yes to this casino. Thank you.
Thank you. Antonio Civitelli.
Good evening. My name is Antonio Civitella, President CEO, TransFinder, located downtown Schenectady, 440 State Street. I want to make sure you know I fully support the decision to have the casino be located right here in Schenectady. I ask all of you to vote yes for this casino. I endorse this project based on a few things. One is Gillespie Group and Rush Gaming, Street Gaming is behind this project. Let's face it, Gillespie Group has done some amazing first-class project downtown city, and I expect this casino is going to be even better. It's going to be a best project yet for the city. Last year, over 600,000 people came to Schenectady because of Proctor's and all the entertainment they provide for all of us. Let's face it, a casino is going to be here within 15-minute drive. We don't want to lose anybody that's coming downtown. Downtown is finally taking its space, it's moving. We could lose a lot of people walking the street. We want them. It's alive. As a technology company, we want more people here. We want innovators. We want this. Again, I ask you strongly to vote yes for a casino in Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Richard Terry.
members of the council. Richard Terry. I live in Schenectady, in the same house for 45 years, and a career for 33. I don't oppose casinos morally or otherwise, but I would be a lot happier if it were located, let's say, near exit 25 and 26, for instance, or in Niskayuna or Rotterdam. My fear is that the city will pay all the costs that we can't presently afford, except with extravagant property taxes, police and rescue and traffic and all those other things. And the $40,000 and $60,000 job earners will live in Niskayuna. So here's some questions I think you should have asked last week, and you should ask before you vote. First of all, what is the source of the payments that supposedly the city and county and schools are going to get? I've heard property tax here tonight, but I'm not sure that's the answer. From those payments, what costs will the county bear? Next, what will the cost to the city be, and will they exceed our payments? You can call casino sites, I'm sure, and get the answer. How much food will be sold at the site? Most important, what jobs will be available, and how many for the chronically unemployed and underemployed in the city, and what will the salaries be? $8 an hour is pay for teenagers, not working adults. Who's going to police the parking areas and the parking garages and the traffic gridlock that's going to result? City Police Department at our cost. What revenue will be required to pay to get our suggested income? In other words, how much are they going to make there? How will the already jammed streets and access roads be made free for access to this place? Everyone knows that all the roads north out of town are jammed every day at the end of the workday, and Erie Boulevard's probably been jammed since cars were invented. What will construction activities cost us in the roads and so on? That was raised in the Gazette. And I guess, more or less last, what happened to the village by the water? We heard we were going to get at the waterfront at the Alco site for the last several years. Seems surprising, okay, that anyone would want to live near an 18-hour-a-day activity and a traffic nightmare. So I think you need to get the answers to those questions before we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Zontner.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam President, and members of the City Council. My name is Jim Zontner. I live on North Ferry Street. I've lived most of my life in Schenectady. I grew up and went to grade school in the Stockade. I'm upset that this proposal has been entered in by elected officials and certain members of the business community. I would like to thank Councilman Riggi for coming to our meeting on Saturday and giving us his opinion and answering some of our questions. I'm going to touch base on a couple of basic elements that you may have overlooked in your decisions. First, the Alco site is on a floodplain. Those of you who remember a couple of years ago, the Stockade flooded. It flooded Knott Street and Erie Boulevard. In the past couple of months, fill has been brought into the Alco site, raising the level of the bank alongside the river. If the river floods again, with the high banks that are now being built, more water is going to be traveling upstream into the homes that are along the river north of Front Street. Who will pay for their damages? Second of all is the traffic on Erie Boulevard. In recent months, with the construction that's been going on in Erie Boulevard, more cars have been coming through the Stockade area. People have been speeding, they've been running red lights, they've been running stop signs and traffic lights. With the 2.8 million people that you are expecting to come in for this casino, State Street and Erie Boulevard cannot handle this traffic. Right now, it is backed up at rush hour from the Washington Avenue exit by SEC almost all the way to the Broadway entrance ramp on I-90, or 890, I'm sorry. I know this because I drive it every day. The Alco area has 3 positive things going for it. First, the Gold family has brought Price Shoppers headquarters there. Second, Union College is a quarter mile away. Third, you have the first historical site in New York in the Stockade. I wish you would all take these into consideration before you vote on this proposal. I think it is not a good idea. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Bobby Malozzi.
Good evening, Madam President, Mr. Mayor, council members, Commissioner. Thanks for allowing us to speak tonight. I'm here to express my support of the casino project. I'm a Schenectady resident. I am a business owner in the city of Schenectady. And I've heard the opponents' arguments, and I respect their opinions very much. I see it a little bit differently. To me, the greatest challenge that we have in Schenectady today is we have an outstanding school system that's tremendously underfunded. And this is a solution for that problem. In most municipalities, schools run short on funds, they raise taxes. We can't afford to do that here anymore. Our taxes are already too high. We're losing residents because of our tax situation. The tax revenue that this casino project would bring in could help in those additional programs that our schools need for the future of our city. I'm more concerned about the young people. I know there's significant problems with adults that can't control spending and might have gambling addictions. I get it. We respect that. But the 5-year-old kid today who in 10 short years is going to make that decision whether or not to drop out of school or to go on to college, that's where we have to be focusing our attention, helping those kids. So that's all I have to say tonight. I appreciate your time. Since I'm under 3 minutes, I'll just publicly apologize to all my friends who I brought with me tonight, who I said would be 45 minutes tops. I'm sorry about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex Chiaraville.
Good evening. My name is Alex Chiaraville, and I live in Schenectady County. I'd like to start off by thanking you for giving me and everyone else the opportunity to speak tonight. And I wanted to tell you why I think a casino is right for Schenectady and why it would be a real benefit to people like me. As a graduating senior, I know how frustrating and difficult the job market is right now because I've experienced it firsthand. I have friends who are experiencing firsthand. I have family who are experiencing it firsthand. The casino would provide jobs in this tough time, especially for young people who need that opportunity of a good paying job. Being a Schenectady native, I'm aware of all that Gillespie Group and the business community have done for our community. Wherever I go, being it traveling for sports or on vacation or throughout the other cities in upstate New York and the Capital District, I'm proud to say I'm a native of Schenectady. I'm asking you to please support this project, not just because of the benefits it will bring for tomorrow, but for the doors it will open for young people such as myself for years down the road. And I think oftentimes in proposals, many people older than I am, many politicians speak of the youth and the future. I stand before you as a representative of that young generation that doesn't want to leave my home for other jobs, and I think the casino would be good for that. So I'm excited for Rush Street Gaming and the Gillespie Group to partner and make this casino possible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anna Kabul.
Good evening, members of the council and Mayor McCarthy. My name is Anna Kabul, and I've lived in the city for more than 45 years. And in those years, I've seen many forecasts, promises, grand plans. Seldom did they materialize. Also, if we do the math on that 18% deduction, well, we know what the taxes are. So what is the guaranteed amount that the casino has to make so that we can get that deduction? There's no public hearing necessary. I have the feeling that the decision has been made. And I hope, if that project goes on, that you will listen to some of the people who have written to the Gazette and were asking for architecture that would befit Schenectady and its neighborhoods. There's only one Schenectady in the world. Let's do justice to its unique history. And if we build, then let's not build some Atlantic City glorious glass high-rise, but let's think about structures that would not only bring in gamblers, but also tourists. My suggestion. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Daniel Connolly?
Good evening, Madam President, Mayor, City Council members. My name is Daniel Crowley of Union Street. Born and raised in Schenectady, I am a graduate of SECC and a proud graduate. I'm also a member of the SECC Alumni Committee and a local small business owner. I am for the development of the Mohawk Harbor. I vote yes to creating jobs. I vote yes to growing the SECC gaming, culinary, and hospitality departments. And I vote yes to economic growth in our community we live in. Thank you.
Thank you. Gordon Furlani.
Madam President, Mr. Mayor, and members of the City Council, my name is Gordon Furlani. Excuse me. I live on Union Street in the city of Schenectady. I was born and raised in this community, and I've lived here for over 60 years, and I'm not going anywhere. I remember how vibrant Schenectady was when I was growing up. I lived through the ups and downs of this city, and now it seems to me we're now on our way up. Where were the development opponents over the years when our city needed all the help it could muster? I didn't even know if they lived here then. I want to thank the Gillespie Group for taking tremendous risks to help the rebuilding of our city. They've invested well over $100 million in downtown Schenectady, and now they want to spend more. I don't understand what's wrong with that picture. I, for one, am in favor of this casino being developed at the former Alco facility, now Mohawk Harbor. I can remember my parents taking me to see our relatives in Balsa Spa. Back then, we would go out Maxim Road, which is now Erie Boulevard Extension. I was always excited to pass the Alco plant because I could see the engines parked in the yard. Now, I want my grandkids and their kids to be as excited as I was as they drive past Mohawk Harbor and see it in all its splendor. I vote in favor of this casino. Thank you, and I hope you do too.
Thank you. Jeff Nania?
I'm Jeff Nania, resident of Front Street in Schenectady, a graduate of SECC, professional saxophonist and arts journalist for Metroland. I'd like to come out in support of the casino because I think that the tax revenue will help in the long term to improve the infrastructure of Schenectady. And I also think it's important to take a step back and look that the proposal is for a moderate-sized casino. Okay, Atlantic City is home to 11 large casinos. So I think you need to look at this in perspective and realize that this is not going to be the keystone that holds up the entire city. We already have the greatest theater in the area. We already have places for world-class talent to come into town. We're home of the Union College National Hockey Championships. We have a great restaurant scene. We have a great bar scene. We have trails. We have a lot of great things in the city. So this is just another piece of the picture, and I think that that's important to see that and just realize that this is just another thing that could be a positive distinction for the city. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Kristen Diotti.
Good evening. I'm a resident on Front Street in the Stockade of Schenectady. I live and work in the city and have seen its revival over the last few years. I'm speaking in support of the casino as a supplement to this revival, an opportunity to reinvest in Schenectady's infrastructure, particularly improving pedestrian routes from the Stockade to areas like Little Italy, Lower State Street, Union Street, and the waterfront. Because it's coupled with the harbor concept in a city that has a strong arts backbone and quality restaurants and businesses, I think there's multiple attraction points that add more appeal than an isolated casino would bring. I believe in this city, and I think we're strong enough and smart enough to direct the benefits the casino can offer to our advantage. And I wouldn't want to miss the opportunity to do that. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see, Zoe Williams.
Good evening. My name is Zoe Williams. I'd like to share my support for this project from a different point of view. I recently moved up here from New York City. I'm currently residing on Niskuna Drive, and I'm employed in downtown Schenectady on State Street. I believe that this project will be a benefit for Schenectady. I moved up here looking for opportunities that I was not able to find in New York City, being that this will open up way more jobs. It will open up an opportunity for our, like I said, they said before, just to elaborate, the young people that have left to try and find opportunities for jobs, for places to live. I prefer living in Schenectady for a few reasons. I believe that we have a natural beauty up here that a lot of people do not know about. People who will come and go to the casino and spend money up here and go and visit all of the different social things that will be provided with this are going to be exposed to the beauty that Schenectady has to offer, and I think that's a huge positive. Also, I am a mother, and I do worry. I do worry about the budget situation with our schools in upstate New York, and I think that this will definitely help relieve the taxpayers. I believe that this will encourage more people to enroll their children in schools and stay here and raise their children here. Also, I just want to say, regarding all of the concerns as far as people losing control and all the negative aspects, I do think that as citizens we are supposed to be held responsible for our own behavior and for our own self-control. And I think that we need to look at it in a bigger picture. I do think that this project is going to be a positive. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Spring Meggs.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam President, and members of the council. I grew up in the Schenectady area on a farm. My ancestors were the Klutes who settled Schenectady. So the place means a lot to me. I really want just to ask one thing about process. Why is this all going so quickly? The City of Toronto took a year to discuss the possible siting of a casino in Toronto. They designated a year for discussion. Last holiday time, New Year's, we really hadn't heard anything about this. It's only been in the last couple of months. I'm so disappointed in the process that y'all have let go on. That's all.
Thank you. Richard DiCristoforo. I'm butchering the last name, I apologize.
Hi, I'm Richard DiCristoforo. I live in Rotterdam, and I'm here to support the resolution, of course, because I've seen the ups and downs of Schenectady. I've made my living in downtown Schenectady for more than 52 years, and I like what I heard from many people this evening about how bad Schenectady has been. We experienced the good times and then the bad times, the real bad times, and now thanks to Metroplex and the Galicia Group, and I was so glad to hear a gentleman just thank the Galicia Group for their more than $100 million investment in Schenectady. It makes me wonder what naysayers may think that they could possibly do anything to hurt this city that they have invested so much money into. Not to mention the fact that the promoters are evidently the very best that there are. If we just look at the track record of the promoters that want to build the casino, the Rush people, you would see that their casinos are far above and beyond any that exist with their competition. I heard a remark that in the city of Chicago or the state of Illinois, they made it a law that casinos had to be a certain square footage, a certain size. So they were limited to building at that size. So they did, and there were 4 other competing casinos built as well. And in Chicago, their casino far outdraws and does much more business than any of their competition by more than 2 to 1. So I just ask that, what is the question regarding converting a brown field that's been a brown field for so many years, so ugly for so many years after our poor Alco moved out? How are we going to let this opportunity pass us by? I just can't understand it. Today on the news tonight, a famous actor was quoted on television because he was at the Italian-American Federation celebration in our state capitol today, and that gentleman is Tony Danza. Everybody would know Tony Danza. He said that his father told him all his life, on our currency and on our money, there's a phrase that nobody takes part in much anymore. It's called a pluribus union, or something to that effect. But translated, it means we are all one. So I ask for a total commitment from this council and on behalf of this resolution. And when the casino gets built, we are still all one. We would like to see you all, the naysayers and the yes people, at the casino. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sarah Barton, or Barron, excuse me.
Hi, my name is Sarah Barron. I am the pastor of the First Schenectady United Methodist Church, and I am so grateful that you have made an hour and 45 minutes to hear us so far, which comes to my first point. I think you mentioned that there is no obligation for a public hearing for this particular issue. I think you are also aware, with 80 people who wanted to speak in a room that has been full of overflow seating, there is some need for conversation within this city, and I know we're all tired of hearing. So I'm going to ask people to play with me for just a minute. I'm going to stay on time, I promise. Can people put the signs down? Would you raise your hand if you are here to be in conversation about the casino? Would you leave your hand up if you are a resident of the city of Schenectady? Would you leave your hand up if you are here in support of the proposal for a casino? Would you please put your hand up if you are here against the proposal for a casino? Okay, I didn't look. But I am under the impression that there is a diversity of opinion about this topic and a deep need to be heard, to have dialogue, and to make a decision together instead of just putting it on the 7 of you, as much as I respect you. So I come bearing a petition that contains more than 50 names, asking that you would table this for now and give opportunity for people to be heard. I am, however, a realist, and I don't actually think you're going to do that. So I just want to speak briefly to my objections to a casino in Schenectady. The first is, it has been stated many times that we're going to have one in the area, we might as well get the money. There will not necessarily be one in the area. There's the opportunity, not the obligation. other communities have said no, including Saratoga Springs, who might know something about gambling. And there's been a lot of conversation about economics, so let me simply read this quote before I hand it to you as well. No great nation or state has ever built prosperity on the foundations of personal debt, addiction, and the steady expansion of businesses that milk existing wealth instead of producing new wealth. Relying on gambling as an economic development strategy exemplifies the attitudes and practices. Short-term is more important than sustainable. Wealth can come from an ever-growing debt. Something can come from nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Roy Neville.
Roy Neville, a longtime resident of this city. The dark side of casino gambling is that it promotes addictive behavior. And a lot of people can't handle gambling. Lots of people. And it's especially bad for people with mental illnesses, with elderly people, and those with drug and alcohol problems already. We find that gambling addiction is just like drug addiction on the street. What you're doing is promoting a form of drug addiction. What's going on in the brain is the same thing, and science now shows us that the rush you get from gambling is the same as a rush from taking cocaine. The other processes going on, like tolerance, you build up a need for more and more excitement and bigger winnings and so on, just like going after street drugs. And this withdrawal, you feel irritable and restless and unhappy, and you cause problems in the family when you can't gamble, when you run out of money and get behind in your debts. Same thing, same process. And you can't overcome the chase. What goes on in gambling places is the need to capture back what you've lost. You've got to get back that money. And if you're a weak person, an addicted person, you will keep betting until you try to get that back. And that's what's ruinous and what happens over and over again. We have so many victims. You know, the easy targets are elderly people. You go to Hagen's Son, you'll see people come in busloads from New York City, and they come with their oxygen tanks and their wheelchairs, and they're the ones who bet. And people without who are not thinking clearly, and with depression and easily excitable people, they're the ones who go gambling. You know, we really don't need it, and what you're doing is leaving a lot of people in trouble and high social economic costs, and a lot of cripples because of this. I hope you'll think of that side of this when you're voting. It's a serious side of everything to do with this gambling.
Thank you. Vicki Hurwitz.
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy, City Council members. My name is Vicki Hurwitz, and I'm speaking against the proposed casino with two hats tonight. The first hat is as a middle-class resident of the city of Schenectady for the last 7 years. I moved to Schenectady because I like its original, old-time kind of feel, the fact that there are not generic chain and big box stores everywhere. Here I can enjoy an Ambition's coffee house instead of a Starbucks, or an open-door bookstore instead of a Barnes & Noble, or a more Parecas and Villa Italia for my bread and cookies instead of a Panera's. As an entertainment destination, a casino holds no interest for me. I have never gone to one, nor do I have any desire to do so. I find the closed, artificial atmosphere sterile, and would rather spend the $100 or so that I would set aside to lose on a couple of good restaurant meals or a show at Proctor's. My second hat is as a local activist with a strong interest in economic development issues. So I asked myself, even if I don't like a casino, maybe it would be a good thing for the city. After all, I am only one person with no interest in gambling to begin with. So I read the various pros and cons written in our local paper, both by citizens and the editorial staff. The main thing I was struck by is that the projected revenue of $200 to $250 million comes from my fellow citizens losing money. Nobody is producing anything and nobody is buying anything. This revenue means the House has won. After reflecting on this, my feeling is that there are less predatory ways to do economic development. Is economic development easy? No, but a lot of things in life that are worthwhile are not easy. As a city, we need to come together to come up with creative and innovative ideas to improve the lives of all of our citizens. In my opinion, a casino is neither creative nor innovative. Schenectady can do better. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Kelleher.
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy, Council President King, council members, and city residents. My name is Linda Kelleher. I reside in the city, and I'm a property owner and thus a property taxpayer. I am offended and even outraged over this council's arrogance in not holding a public hearing for this very important issue. You can look at the people that are here to speak tonight and not see a need? Really? Shame on you. I'm opposed to this council, I'm opposed to the council. I'm opposed to the casino for many reasons you have heard, and I'm going to tell you a few more. I thank Pastor Sarah for bringing to attention to who and where these speakers live. Rush, when we talk about the future of the youth, well, Rush Street Gaming has been fined $105,000 for 7 instances of allowing underage patrons to gamble at Rivers Casino in Pittsburgh. $70,000 fine for 7 instances of allowing underage patrons to gamble at Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia. $25,000 for marketing to people on the Indiana problem gambler self-exclusion list, March 2012. Now, do we think that this is a fit for our Mohawk Harbor development? We want something that's going to take advantage of that Riverview. A big Walmart building with no windows. They don't want any windows in there. They don't want clocks in there. It disorients people. The gamblers are going to stay in that casino and they're going to gamble. They're not going to venture out into our neighborhood. I believe Rush Street Gambling and others like them targets areas like Schenectady. We are in financial distress and have high property taxes. They dangle the carrot of revenue to offset taxes and create jobs. Jobs, housekeeping, Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh. Their salaries, housekeeping, $8 an hour. Security workers, $9.50 an hour. Table and Sugar House Casino, salaries, table operator, $4 an hour. Player services, $12 to $14 an hour. Workers allege that many of them are paid less than $10.88 an hour. Do we want our youth working at jobs like this? They might as well work at McDonald's. Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh, suffered fines levied by Pennsylvania Gaming Control Board this month in May 2013 for mailing promotional materials to 93 people who had been self-excluded themselves from Pennsylvania casinos and for table games violations. We don't need this casino in our city.
Thank you. Joe Kelleher.
Mr. Mayor, Madam President, City Council, thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to speak. My name is Joe Kelleher. I am a resident here of the city. As you just heard from my wife, you heard some very valid statistics from very valued resources and true resources gotten from all over the United States. Having lived in Pennsylvania myself at one point, I've seen where some of this devastation comes in. However, while I'm not opposed to having casinos and I'm not opposed to people having personal responsibility, I believe it's very short-sighted that the City Council has taken such a quick stance in already talking about making its decision on where they plan to stand when the vote comes up. We want to talk about families and bringing families back into the area. A casino is not the place where someone is going to want to bring their families. We want to talk about, thank you. We want to talk about bringing families into the city. Mohawk Harbor would be a very good place to bring the city. We can have entertainment venues there, we can bring entertainment dollars, and keep these things that are going to be going into a casino into other venues where we can bring our families and bring shopping back downtown. We talked about during last year's deliberations about bringing a movie studio here into the city. We haven't seen that happen as of yet. Is it still on the table? That would be a great thing to put Schenectady back on the map. Casinos happen to prey, as they've done in numerous studies, especially in studies by Drexel University and urban casinos, on areas of urban areas, which are, let's say, more so of the underprivileged. They are opportunists of the elderly. These are our tax dollars and their Social Security dollars that are going into the casinos. And in this particular instance, these monies are going out of our area, 80% of the profits going to this Chicago business. While I'm not opposed by any means to promoting business, by no means, but the business should stay here in the city, not go out of our area to Chicago. Please, please, please look more carefully at the statistics. I found these statistics in 5 minutes. Please look more carefully, please deliberate longer, and please look at these instances like environmental and socio-impact studies. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Townsend.
Hello, my name is Mark Townsend. Thank you to Chairman of the City Council and members and the Mayor for having us here. Glad to see some people from this side of the rail on the other side of the rail. I'd like to know where everybody was when I was at a public hearing against the expansion of Rexford Bridge. I was the only person that talked against the expansion of Rexford Bridge. And people are wondering, what does Rexford Bridge have to do with casino? People have casinos for jobs. Guess what? We have lots of jobs in Schenectady County. And if you don't believe it, look at the Rexford Bridge at the end of the day or the beginning of the day. People wait 2 miles to get into this city because that's where their jobs are. But we don't have them living in the city. We don't have them paying real estate taxes for our schools in our city. We don't need a casino. We need to revitalize our neighborhoods. We need more people living here for a tax base. Casino? People are saying how much money the casino's going to bring to Schenectady. Flip it. People don't have to come to Schenectady to gamble. They can go to Saratoga. There are 4 new venues that are going to open up in New York State. Duval Patrick is adding casinos in Massachusetts. We have gambling in Saratoga, both at the racetrack and at the Racino. We have the Indian casinos of Foxwood and Turning Stone. This casino is not going to bring money to the city. It's going to take money from this city. Every penny you hear that they say is going to come to the city comes from somewhere. It's not coming out of the brownfield at the Alco site. It's coming from the people of this area. They're coming to take our money. And yes, we'll get some taxes and stuff, but we're going to have to spend money. And guess what? Mayor, Mr. Cuomo, our governor, came up with this proposal, and the state's going to skim off the top before we even get any money. Let somebody else in the state give our money to our state. This isn't going to help us. I've been to cities with racinos. Go to Davenport, Iowa. It's a nice town, but it isn't a bright and shining city, and they have 2 casinos on the river with riverboat gambling. This is not going to make this city shine. Bring the workers here, have them live here, have them shop here, have them pay taxes. Don't give us more workers that are going to live in Saratoga Springs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
Vito Spinelli. I'm
another
sorry, your
note
time
in
is up.
conclusion, notice the people against this city lived, against the casino lived in the city. The people that were for it lived outside, if you saw the hands raised.
All right. Vito Spinelli.
Good evening. My name is Vito Spinelli. My wife and I rent an apartment in Scotia. I'm opposed to this casino. There is I'm sure you are all aware of that old admonition, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. When the casinos were approved in the state of New Jersey, my wife and I resided in northern New Jersey. At that time, excuse me, I have to take my glasses off to read. At that time, the voters had approved the casinos in Atlantic City, and the same arguments, or the same promises that are being made today were made then. Money for education, senior services, tax relief for house owners, et cetera, et cetera. In addition, Atlantic City, a crime-infested disgrace, would be resurrected. In 1996, we moved to our apartment in Scotia after selling our house to our oldest daughter. In 1996, our property taxes were $4,400 a year. Last year, her tax bill was over $8,000. Our son, who also owns a home in northern New Jersey, has seen his tax bill almost double in 15 years, with no sign of abating. Atlantic City is still a dump, although prostitution is thriving. After almost 40 years of operating casinos, the state is in dire financial straits. They're in a hole after all of this money that was supposed to flow to everybody, all this largesse, okay? Rush City Gaming is in the gambling business. Gaming is what the public is really going to be in for. Thank you.
Thank you. Jesse M.
My name is Jessie Malecki, and I live in the house that I was born in the stockade. Good evening to the mayor, council members, and people on the other side of the railing. Because of allergies, I hope I am able to get through this. I am not a stranger to you, inasmuch as I have written several emails to all of you. I do not want a casino built near the stockade, which is the oldest historic area in New York State, which would damage a reasonably quiet area. There is also the situation of being built in a floodplain, which will make the August 28, 2011 flood seem minor compared to what the future would bring. I had 3 feet of water in my first floor. All the businesses in Schenectady are for the casino. Why not? Most of them have received financial benefits from Metroplex. Who would want to jeopardize that? Since the extended construction at Erie Boulevard, cars bypass that area and cut through the stockade, which makes traffic on Front Street horrendous. I hate to imagine what would take place having a casino nearby. Lastly, the old saying, quote, wisdom comes with age, unquote. Well, I have the age because I'm 90. Perhaps I have the wisdom to go with it, and I say no to a casino at the Alco site. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Melissa Lagone.
My name is Melissa Lagone, and I've been living in Schenectady for 20 years. Before that, I was living on Long Island. A lot of people are talking about high taxes and stuff, but Long Island pays a lot higher taxes than up here. But either way, higher taxes, where's our money going? I want to know. I'm an accountant. Where is everyone saying about high taxes? Where is our tax money going? Now, with the casino, everyone is saying, well, it's going to cut our taxes, These fine gentlemen, after a year of having their casino open, can go for a tax break. So where's the money going to come from after they take their tax cut? From me. The regular taxpayer, our taxes are still going to go up. We need, I heard a lot of the college kids saying, oh, I'm going to have to leave. We need to start making jobs for them here and not a casino. My grandfather, Dr. Bert Dearden, once I said I was going to go to Las Vegas and I'm going to go and work in a casino, and he turned around and said to me, I'm disappointed in you because I know you can do better than that. And I say this to all the college students here. I'm disappointed in you because I think you can do better than that. We need doctors. We need scientists. We need people that are going to make a contribution to our city and in Schenectady. We need to bring better jobs, not a casino. We need better jobs to come in here. And somebody was saying about proctors. Well, proctors came in and brought in all this good entertainment. Yes, these are people that are educated. These musicians are not just musicians. They studied. They went to Juilliard. They put their dues in. And these are people that are way talented than a casino. We need to bring better jobs into Schenectady, not jobs that are temporary. What's going to happen? They're going to go and say, "Oh, I did a year. I'm going to leave Schenectady and go to another job somewhere else." We need to keep them here with better jobs. We need to look and do research. Go in and find what are the high-paying jobs and bring them here to Schenectady and not somewhere else. We need to bring better jobs. We need to have students to find cures for ovarian cancer and things like this. We need to bring better jobs, not a casino. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Joy Nish.
Hi, good evening. Close enough. It's Jay Nish.
Sorry.
And that's all right. My handwriting is horrible. I'm an interloper from Niskayuna, and I'm a business owner down on State Street. And the only reason I'm a business owner in Schenectady County on the main thoroughfare is because of people like Dave Bucco, because of Ray Gillen, because of Doug Sales, because of the Malozzi's, because of Antonio Civitelli. These are all people who took a risk on me. They took a big chance. They gamble with their money. They gamble with their very careers themselves. They don't have to take a risk on somebody like me. This is not even a risk, what's going on down the street. This is a tried and true business that's going to provide jobs. I just heard the last speaker talking about work and jobs. All work has dignity. All jobs have dignity. That's what they're talking about. They're talking about, the destruction of humanity and everybody seems to be an expert in prostitution. It absolutely blows my mind. That is a boogeyman. It's a wicker man. It's a straw man that people use to throw smoke. They want fear, uncertainty, and doubt instead of voting with their hopes and with their dreams. And you know what? Maybe that is somebody's hope. Maybe that is somebody's dream. And who the heck are we to decide whose hope and dream is better or worse than mine? It's self-determination in this country. We've gotten so far away from self-determination, it almost is vexing. We want everybody to say no. We say, well, they said no, we will go home. I don't understand where we are anymore. I know my argument is probably more esoteric than most, but I've heard a lot of people cite history, so I'm going to cite some real history. That path along that Mohawk was cleared by a bunch of Scots, a bunch of royalist, noble Scots that came here. They cleared all the way the Western Gateway. The Leslies, the Glens, the Sanders, they did it for freedom. All that is about self-determination down the street and freedom. It's part of the Penelope, part of the fabric of the city that will always evolve. 200 years ago, 300 years ago, it was different than it is today. That's life. 100 years ago, this argument is moot. None of us will be here, thankfully. So that we don't have to be encumbered by the earthly madness that we're consumed with today. That's a gambling casino. There's nothing more, there's nothing less. It's jobs, it's economic development, and I'll tell you right now, the city of Schenectady took a big gamble with me coming here, and it's paid off great dividends. I would not want anybody to have any more or less than I was given. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Aragosa.
Good evening. Mike Aragosa, owner-operator of Marty's True Value Hardware on the north side of Schenectady. We hear about Stockade and other parts of the city tonight. Well, the north side is very, very a part of what's going on here. I, as a business owner on that side of town, think that this project is something that it's a win-win for all of us. Certainly as a businessman. One of the things that I would say going forward, and I would ask, point these comments to Rush Street Development, is when you do start hiring your employees, I ask that you talk to them about the Mayor's Homes program and a little known initiative that we talked about 3 years ago, Live Where You Work. The north side of Schenectady has some great homes, and I would encourage you to encourage your employees to come there and look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. William Vining.
Hi, good evening. My name is Will Vining. I'm a resident living on Union Street in Schenectady, and I urge you to vote no against this casino. What we need to focus on is getting people to want to live in Schenectady. A little bit about myself, I'm actually from South Carolina. I moved to the area to work for GE, but I chose to live in Schenectady because of the walkable neighborhoods, being able to bike to work, friendly neighbors. These are quality of life issues that are not addressed by a casino. I mean, who moves to a city because there's a casino there? The question is almost laughable when you say it out loud. My hometown in South Carolina, the local Indian reservation, the local Indian tribe, they opened up a high-stakes bingo parlor, hoping to make lots of money from this high-stakes bingo. Well, a few years later, the state passed an education lottery, and the bingo parlor went out of business because of the competition from the education lottery. So these are things that I've experienced in my past. These are personal experiences that have happened in cities that I've lived in. And what's going to happen to the casino in Schenectady when 3 new casinos open up in New York City in 7 years? What is the long-term vision for the casino? If you look at casino attendance over time, it's going down across the country for existing casinos because of increased competition. Has there been any thought to what we're going to do with buildings that remain when the casino goes out of business or has to stop offering this great shuttle to downtown because they have to cut costs? And these are questions that need to be addressed by the council and by the citizens of Schenectady, but because of the time constraints, have not been appropriately addressed. It's sort of like you go to a lake and there's a bridge there and you want to jump in the water because it's really hot in here, and you jump without looking what's underneath the water first. At first it's exciting, you get a thrill of jumping off the bridge, but then when you hit the water, you hit rocks. But we don't even know. We don't know what's underneath the water because we haven't done our due diligence. And I don't know how a council can honestly support a proposal without actually getting the studies done to evaluate the impact on the local community. Thank you.
Thank you. Delkness, folks, you've been really great about not applauding, so that we've got about 20 more speakers, so I would just ask for your patience with that. The last name is Stageman. Is it Delkness Stageman? Mr. Stageman that lives on Wendell Avenue? No? All right. Richard Vicks, or Howard Vicks, excuse me.
Good evening. My name is Howard Vicks. I live near Schenectady High School, and I've got some disparate notes here, and given the fact that about 60 people have spoken before me, many of the topics have already been covered, but I just want to hit a couple of things. One of the things that Pastor Barron said that is consistent through what I want to say is that I don't believe that we've done the due diligence that we need to. We have not done the environmental impact study. I want to start out really by saying I'm a huge supporter of the Mohawk Harbor project. I think it's a great project. It's going to do wonderful things for the city. It's going to take a brownfield and turn it into something productive, shops, mixed use, condos. So I'm a big supporter of that. My hesitation comes more from the add-on for the hotel and casino. It is in a floodplain, and in order to build the structure, they're going to have to bring more fill in. That is going to have an effect on properties and flooding in the Stockade, in Scotia, in the lower Union Street. That hasn't been studied. We don't know what that is. By the presentation that was done, there was an estimate of 2.5 million cars a year. What is the impact of that going to be on the environment, on parking, on traffic? There has been no socioeconomic or social impact studies done. I would urge that the council look at the data that's now available on similar projects that have been done in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, including DePlain, Illinois. There's the issue of underage gambling. It's going to happen, I understand, it's statistics. You have 1,000 people come in, 5 of them are going to be underage, I get it. But what about the impacts associated with drinking and the consumption? One of the key things is you walk in the dark, you put a slot, you put money in the slot, they're going to play with alcohol. And so what are the side effects of that? Driving while under the influence and the impacts of that. What about the increase in crime, robbery, theft, prostitution? There is an increase in prostitution around casinos, there's no question about it, and other things. One of my concerns as a resident is that the first that I heard of the casino was about 2 weeks ago. Now I'm pretty well informed. I read the Albany Business Review. I'm a member of the chamber. I get my information. I'm not uneducated, but this is the first I heard of it. I realize legally there's no need for a public hearing, but I think this is a very, very important issue that the council needs to get the public's input on. And so I would urge that you do that. And bottom line here is that we don't need the casino, we need the harbor project. And before any vote's taken, I think the proper studies need to be done and the public must be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Peter Looker.
Hi, I live just upriver on Amsterdam Road in Glenville. I would have liked if there was a public hearing. I see a lot of pluses and minuses. As a business person, I like to try and balance the cost and benefit, and I look at this business from what I've read about it, and in a very short time, it's I basically see it as a predatory business. I think if you look at the books about it, you read about it, it's very predatory. It tends to be predatory on lower income people that are in more desperate situations. If you look at what's happening even in Connecticut with the increase in embezzlement and in theft, pawn shops, there's a small business that's doing good. Divorce, foreclosure. I think we need to look at the balance, and I don't think there's time. I read the Gazette every day. I miss Carl Strock because this was an area that he did some research on, and he would have brought out some of the other issues that need to be looked at. So I would say, number one, we should have a public hearing and really look at the full impact of this and not just the promises that are made. The other thing I'll bring up, about 3 or 4 years ago when Walmart's, 6 of the families in Walmart each have $20 billion or more. When they decided 3 or 4 years ago to open up on Thanksgiving because $20 billion for each of their sections of family wasn't enough, I start to question that. I go back to the good book that said love of money was the root of all evil. And I don't see this billionaire taking his billions and giving it to people. I see him coming in and taking it from those seniors that are up there that I've seen in 3 different casinos I've gone through. It's basically kind of a zombie parade. I found it, I went and watched for a few minutes, and it was just not a very pleasant thing. And I can see why they're not going to have any windows on there so people don't look outside. And now with the electronics of it, it's much more predatory. It's, in my mind, somewhat akin to the predatory home mortgage thing where the people selling them knew these people couldn't pay for it, and they ended up sending it off into somewhere else and still making their money off it. So I'd say please have a public hearing and look at all the impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Rapisarda. Again, Kathy Rapisarda. And Kings Road. No. All right. Melinda Myers. Okay, Robert Harvey. Oh, wait, Melinda's here, I'm sorry.
If you said Melinda Myers, I'm it.
You are.
Yesterday, I was 94 years old. And I have no business being out here this late, but I love Schenectady enough to come out tonight. I love the city. I have given my life to it. I came to Schenectady in 1942, and I've been working for Schenectady almost ever since. And it means a lot to me. I want the city to continue to grow. I don't want to see it go downhill. And I just would, one thing I want you to know, around the end of the year, I received a letter, 10 pages from Texas. It was from a man named Bill. Bill was offering me, he said he had been reading about me and he likes the kind of person I am, and he would like for me to be a member of his society. They were all rich people. And he said in the letter, you can do all the gambling you want, he said, because he's as rich as he wants to be. Well, nobody's gonna get me in any damn gambling joint, because there's more to life than that. And when I say a curse word, I have a neighbor that laughs at me and said, Melinda, you're too old to be talking that way. But sometimes in life you have to do that. I love this city, I love this state, I love this country, and I have no idea how much longer I would live. But I don't want to see the city go down. And that's what gambling does. It's just poor people that will be wasting their money, and their children will be going hungry. So let's love this place enough to say no. I meant to say to the mayor and all the officials, I keep working and doing the good things that you're doing, and I will be behind you. And even if I am 94 years old, I don't see many people here that look 94. But let's love Schenectady. Schenectady has been on the map before, but don't put us on the map just to have a gambling joint and make a few bad mistakes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Robert Harvey. Again, Robert Harvey. Oh, he did? Okay, thank you. Patricia Rush.
Madam President, Mr. Mayor, City Council, thank you very much for having this long session to hear the opinions, the thoughts and feelings of the citizens of Schenectady, of the city of Schenectady. I live on Oxford Place in Schenectady. I lived there for 35 years, I think almost 40. You've heard a lot of negative anti-casino comments tonight, such as casinos cannibalize existing local businesses, casinos attract crime and criminals, casinos, especially Rush Street Gaming, continually challenge property tax assessments on an annual basis. Casino income in New York will not support education like the lottery, but will go into the state's general fund. Casino gambling, like the lottery, is a regressive tax on the poor. Casino gambling creates social problems of compulsive gambling, leading to bankruptcy, divorce, and other things. The proposed casino is right across the street from Union College, where young minds already vulnerable to addictive behavior, and there's been a lot of research on this, will legally be able to gamble. Rush Street promises high-paying jobs, yet employment patterns at its other operations show the opposite, with buyouts and the conversion of full-time to part-time jobs. I will not elaborate on any of the above problems that casino opponents have discussed tonight. I would like to make a proposal to Rush Street Gaming, and you all have a copy of this, by the way. Instead of laying promises of money around town, as it is doing now, I would like Rush Street Gaming to set up an endowed fund for scholarships for graduates of Schenectady High School. This fund would be large enough, around $50 million, to generate enough annual income to support tuition for Schenectady High School graduates at any New York State public college, junior college, or public university. This scholarship program, which could be called the Rush Street Gaming Promise, would bring hope to our high school graduates, many of whom come from very poor families, and obviate the crushing debt that many of our young people suffer when they graduate from college. It will attract people to Schenectady who will buy our houses, shop in our stores, and help create the thriving, energetic city of our dreams. This program has been very successful elsewhere, such as in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I ask the council to delay its vote on the casino proposal so that it include a resolution making approval of the Rush Street Galisi Casino proposal contingent upon the establishment of a $50 million endowment to fund scholarships in perpetuity for Schenectady High School graduates. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Phillips Grigsby.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mayor McCarthy, members of the council. I'm Reverend Philip Grigsby.
the city resident and also from the north side area. Certainly, I guess so, okay. They just don't make these tall enough, that's the problem. Gotta work on that. Appreciate your patience this evening and for hearing the various pros and cons. I'm part of the coalition that had two of the statements before you, and it's been eloquently spoken to by Pastor Sarah Barron and also by my fellow parishioner, Melinda Myers. And the hat I'm wearing is more as a minister of the United Church of Christ and as a member of Emmanuel Freedom's Church. So I won't repeat those items. I will indicate that some of you don't know that my own personal background is part of my family comes from the Kentucky area, part of my family comes from the New England area. And New England, the Congregationalists, came to that area to set up a city on the hill, and the city on the hill, and we want to be a city on the hill. And part of being a city on the hill is having public conversation about these difficult issues. They are difficult issues, and I believe that this kind of conversation is rushed, and all that's been expressed this evening is there needs to be much more conversation. So before you vote tonight, you could consider a substitute motion that would set a full public hearing and set time for more public conversation, hopefully in a different kind of venue, and I strongly urge you to do that. Since by all the public statements, that's not likely to happen, we have before you the various things. And in addition to what was indicated, I think most of us really try to get past the emotions and look at the evidence. And the evidence is challenging and difficult to look at on both sides. There's strong evidence lots of ways, and it's not an easy research task. But it's important to look at the evidence and not just to share our various opinions or that sort of things about it, and that's what requires more time. The bishop's article I share with you has some additional evidence I believe also needs to be looked at. One last couple comments, though, about when I came to Schenectady 28 years ago, the day after I came here, it was the headline, GE lays off 4,000 people. And then this city has made a remarkable recovery. And because we made a remarkable recovery, and I do really encourage strongly and appreciate all the fine work of Metroplex and many others who invested, because we have done that, we can afford to be more choosy, if you will. We can be more focused on the kind of economic development that we want, and we can do much better than this. The Alco site and whatever, when it was proposed, it sounded like a wonderful new area of new urbanism, and as it could be a model for the areas. Put a casino in there. The casino is not peripheral. It becomes much more central in terms of that kind of activity. It really goes against any attempt at new urbanism. To say it's on the periphery is somewhat like saying, let's have Chris Christie be the vice president. You can't do that. I encourage you to rethink this. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Jason Plank.
Madam President, City Council, Mayor. One of the things that this City Council has not even done is an economic package. What are the cost-benefit analysis? We've heard that they won't have to, no pilots will be given to it. Well, you know, we had a Restore New York grant number 3. There's $5 million already went into this property. They've already got a pilot to remove the property taxes. And I mean, it was $1 million assessment on that thing, and we completely lost that assessment. You know, the next piece is, oh, there's not going to be any mortgage tax, there's not going to be any sales tax on construction. Well, the county just turned around and just answered our question. In the resolution for tomorrow night, which is the county's going to meet, it says, whereas anticipating that the member of the Gillespie Group will develop the hotel component of the gaming facility. That means the Gillespie is going to do it. That means they're going to bypass the state rules under where the casinos can't qualify for pilots. That means the casino is going to turn around, the Gillespie is going to lease the building. So that means they can go ahead and apply for all the pilots that they want to and all the tax breaks, whereas the city is going to get screwed. It's like that been for the last 10 years. This city and this county has not done an economic disparity study. They haven't done an economic impact. They built Erie Boulevard, $14 million, 13 of it was federal money, not one minority or person with disability with jobs. Where are these jobs that they're claiming? For the last 10 years, you've claimed 6,700 jobs? No, they're transfer jobs. You transfer from Wolf Road, transfer from Rotterdam, transfer from everywhere else. Where are these people actually going to live? If we had 6,700 jobs, and we had 6,700 of them lived in the city of Schenectady, paying either rent or buying a home, we wouldn't be in the problem that we're in right now. That's the problem that we're looking at. There is no economic stimulus. There is no economic benefits. And so we need to take a look at it. And tonight, you've got the 4 or 5 votes, it's going to go through. But you should step back and take a look at what you're actually asking for. Because we haven't even gotten to the first base of asking whether we should have a casino here or not. Because we need to know exactly where the taxpayers are actually going to pay. How much is it going to cost for extra fire department, for the police department? They say the crime is down? Well, of course, because they have their own police force. They're not going to call the City of Schenectady Police Department. They're going to solve it themselves, and then they're going to show the person where the sidewalk is, the property line, and it'll be done and over with. Also, too, as many people have mentioned, that this thing's going to be raised over 6 feet. Where's the floodplain going to be? So we haven't even had any of this kind of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Jean Zager?
Yes, Mayor McCarthy, members of the City Council. I am Jean Zager. I've lived in Schenectady for the past 50 or so years, and most of that time has been in the stockade. Yesterday's Gazette and Times-Union reported that the Stockade Association is neutral on the subject of casino in Schenectady. To clarify this, I say that the position was taken by fewer than 11 members of an organization of over 100 members. In fact, there are members who strongly oppose a casino about 1/2 mile from Schenectady's Stockade Historic District on the National Register. It cannot be said that the Stockade Association is neutral. A general membership meeting on the subject of a casino did not take place. So I give you this for the record. And just to add to that, my basement was flooded with water during Hurricane Irene. The fact that Mohawk Marina will raise the level of that land 6 feet can only mean that the next time it would go further. That is of great concern, and I hope it will be looked into. But if that marina is developed, there will be other investment interests in that area. We really have other options, I'm sure, something that will not come with the adverse effects of a casino. These are issues I hope that the council will look at very seriously. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Crozier.
I'm Diane Crozier. I'm a homeowner in Schenectady, and I add my voice to those who oppose a casino. I lived in Schenectady in its heyday and watched its decline. I couldn't be happier to see it on the upswing, and I applaud its progress and those who've contributed to its rise. But as we move ahead, I have grave concerns about adding a casino. Tragically, there has been no public conversation about the pros and cons to inform citizens. As I've pursued some independent research on websites such as Save Saratoga, the New York Times on upstate casinos, Rush Street Gaming, and articles about outcomes at other of Rush Street's casinos, I have learned that the news is mixed and often negative. Revenues are questionable. In fact, at some sites, Rush Street has grieved taxes when revenues were lower than projected. On May 29th in the New York Times, State Controller Thomas DiNapoli warned in a new report that, to quote the article, casino complexes planned for upstate will face stiff regional competition, and that much of the new revenue anticipated from casinos will come from New Yorkers and not necessarily out-of-state visitors. He cautions that casino marketplace is overcrowded, affecting successes of East Coast sites such as Delaware and Atlantic City. He continued, and I quote, "We just want people to have realistic expectations as to what may or may not come from this." As the website Save Saratoga states, casinos are a single destination activity, profiting from keeping guests at the casino, not stimulating the local economy. Social costs for our community are a worry as well. Gambling often profits from those who can least afford financial losses. Is this the kind of business we want now, as Schenectady is regaining its footing after decades of decline? Why not continue with thoughtful development rather than seeking a quick fix? Glitzy presentations from the developer and gaming partnership are aimed to impress. The other side of the story is much less compelling. I think a casino in Schenectady is a gamble not worth taking. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like?
Patricia, is it McDonald on Kings Road?
I too am a resident of Schenectady. I'm very glad I don't, what you're considering, I'm very, very glad that I'm not living on Front Street. To the council, mayor, all of you people who make the decisions. I originally was against the casino because when I first started hearing about it, the only thing I heard about it was how many votes the council had for it and how many votes it didn't. And when the first vote was supposed to come up, it wasn't made because there weren't enough to be positive. That bothered me because there was no input from the citizens of the city. Listening tonight, there are a lot of the points that I was going to make have been made. So I'm not going to reiterate. But it's interesting that most of the residents of the city are not interested in having a casino. The people that are most interested was the union that was here because they want jobs in building. I sat amongst a number of the people from the union. Of the 5 that were sitting near me, 4 do not live in Schenectady. That will not be a job for Schenectady. That'll be a job for a union. If the union gets into something like that, there will be no jobs for Schenectady because those that are not employed right now aren't in a union. That's one point that hasn't been brought up. The other point has been... The other point is that right now we have a nice thing going with proctors. I would rather be associated with a city that has cultural backgrounds and cultural draws, such as Proctor's, than someplace where somebody goes to have a real good time, spend money, and lose it. The casinos do always win. So I would say definitely against the casino. And I hope you reconsider, and as others have brought up, do some more research that has not been done. And if you don't have time to do the research, please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Bertha Kriegler. Bertha Kriegler? No. All right, Gloria Kishton. Oh. Gloria leave, okay. Marilyn Kaufman.
Thank you, Mayor and council members, for your patience this evening in allowing all of us to bring our concerns before you. Many of the points that were going to bring have been brought up by people who express them more eloquently than I would, so I'm going to concentrate on what I hope will bring some new information to the table. I was born and raised in New Jersey and was a young voter at the time that the casino gambling was put on the referendum in New Jersey for gambling in Atlantic City. The referendum initially failed, and according to the law at that time, it could not come on public referendum again for another year. But the lobby in support of the casinos reworded the referendum and got it back on the ballot for the next election, which was a primary election in the spring. So in approximately 6 months' time, it was before the voters again, and it was passed. Also, I have seen Atlantic City before the casinos, and I have seen it after the casinos. And I do agree with those people who have brought up the point that the casinos do not share. They want to draw people into their venue and provide all of the entertainment that a person would need to stay within the casino and spend their money there. So there will be food provided, and there will be entertainment and everything within the confines of the casino. In addition to asking the council to take more time to look into this before voting on a referendum, on a proposition, I would say that there is a lot of benefit that could come from a river walk development. My husband and I have been to New Orleans. We've been to St. Louis along the Mississippi River, and they have beautiful tourist attractions along the river because the river is a draw. Also, I would say that housing along the river with those beautiful views could attract luxury apartments or condominiums that would draw people to live in Schenectady and bring jobs. You know, people can bring jobs as well as jobs bring people. So that is basically all I wanted to say this evening, and I pray for courage for you to make the decision that you need to make. One last thing, all of us want the best for Schenectady, and we don't want to work against each other at cross purposes. We don't want to spite the downtown for the benefit of the casino, and we don't want to hurt jobs. We want what's best. So please don't see us as naysayers. We really want the best for Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Colleen Mires? Is Colleen still here? Oh, you are.
Dear God, I hope I'm like the last person up here. For your sakes as well as mine. Good evening, my name is Colleen Mires. I am the Assistant Director for the Downtown Schenectady Improvement Corporation. I also am a city resident. I'm extremely pleased to express my support for Rivers Casino and Resort at Mohawk Harbor. I strongly believe that this project will have a beneficial impact on the downtown business community. The developer of the former Alco site, the Gillespie Group, hey David, has been pivotal to the revitalization of downtown Schenectady. Their overall plans for Mohawk Harbor illustrate that they are positioning the site to complement their successful efforts in the heart of Schenectady's central business district. For example, the proposed enhancements along J Street between the riverfront and the Proctor's block of State Street provide a clear and convenient connection between Mohawk Harbor and downtown Schenectady's popular shops, restaurants, services, and entertainment venues. Gillespie Group has chosen a successful and thoughtful partner in Rush Street Gaming for the development of Rivers Casino and Resort at Mohawk Harbor. Rush Street's $300 million investment will generate hundreds of local construction jobs and millions in tax revenue for the county and city of Schenectady. Their impressive track record of hiring staff from the local community and providing living wages and quality benefits is a major bonus for all residents, including graduates of Schenectady County Community College's Casino Gaming Management Program. Rush Street Gaming recognizes the importance of local businesses as evidenced by the tens of millions of dollars spent locally each year at their other facilities. Rewards programs and vendor fairs will provide additional business opportunities here. The projected $2.8 million annual visitors to Rivers Casino and Resort will enhance downtown Schenectady's reputation as a tourist destination and will provide an influx of new patrons to discover downtown's business, history, and entertainment treasures. Once again, I'm very pleased to support Rivers Casino and Resort at Mohawk Harbor and the positive impact it promises to have on downtown Schenectady's business community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Ferrari.
What a night, huh? Mayor, Madam President, council members, I'm Anthony Ferrari, lifelong resident of the city of Schenectady and also a business owner. I'm here to speak in support of the operation of the gaming facility here in the city of Schenectady. My whole family feels that by voting yes shows that you, the council, are in favor of progress for the city of Schenectady. Because this is not just about a casino, this is about an opportunity. You'll be voting in an opportunity to bring a $450 million economic development project that will develop an old industrial brownfield site, bring jobs, tax revenue, and area stabilization to the city. Isn't this what we're working for anyways? Isn't that what we're trying to do? Voting yes will bring an opportunity of 1,200 jobs to the city, along with what the state of New York predicts is 2.3 million visitors a year to the city. By voting yes, you'll be giving the city an opportunity to spark a new renaissance. New hotels, new conferences coming in, transportation hubs, and more new businesses. Voting yes gives us an opportunity of bringing a new industry into the city. And this industry just happened to be called the gaming industry. But by voting yes, you'll be voting in favor of the future of the city of Schenectady, and we are asking you to please vote in support of the gaming industry for the city of Schenectady. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I'm going to declare, oh, I'm sorry.
I tried to sign, I got to the doors and I couldn't get in, I tried to sign.
Come up to the podium. Just give us your name and address, please.
My name is Victor Cadis. I'm 36 Cypress Drive in Scotia, New York. I just was looking at, I know with the yes votes, we always hear all the economic plans and taxes and all that's going to do, but I hope you guys really weigh in on the pain and sorrow that gambling can cause. I grew up in a family that was devastated by gambling. I really don't even want to go into details, but my sisters and I were innocent children, and the gambling by the adult wrecked our family life in lots and lots of ways. We had even the basic necessities many times, trying to get to a doctor, dentist, we couldn't go. Had to go to a free clinic if you could get one. There are hidden things here that are much, much greater than just the economic side alone, and keep talking and the greatness of business. There are many, many families in this city, as you know better than anybody, that are in distress. Neighborhoods that are in big distress. And yet, you're going to make a decision, you guys, on putting a casino that we don't really have to have. We can still develop that area, whatever, the harbor, whatever you call it. But you're talking about putting a casino in an area that will now be walking distance to these distressed areas. Now, the adult in my life couldn't seem to handle it, and it went on for years, right from my first memories of childhood right on through till I got out. So we're not just saying, we've heard, well, you make responsible decisions. Fine, but what about the kid? What about the wife or the husband, the innocent one that wants no part of it, but a person is either, you know, just, I don't know, they just do it that on their choice, or they're stuck in that frame and they just keep going, you know, as addiction. I don't know. But I know it happens, and you guys know it happens. And it will happen to some of the weakest families in this city because they can just simply walk over there and do it. And the family's stuck, and the children are stuck, and that's it. So anyway, that's what my main concern was. Please take your time and don't just vote quickly. You've heard many, many, many oppositions to this. Okay, thank you for the chance.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right.
Hi, my name is Wally Spiegel, and I live in Rexford. If guy from Schenectady cannot tell us about Rexford Bridge, so I think I'm from Rexford can talk about casino. I pay taxes in Schenectady, and I pay $200,000 a year. So I think I have rights to speak out. 15 years ago, I was in the same situation which I see Gillespie Group now. 50 years ago, when I built my building on Duane Avenue, naysayers scream and put everything impossible to stop my project. But history proof, project alive, over 100 people work in my building, and salary very high. And I can't sit over there and be quiet. That's why I come here and ask you to support the project. We need to grow. We must be all for investment. If guy want to spend $500 million, why we stop him? He must be concerned more than anybody else. But he like to spend them because he sees the future, not only for himself, but for the city also. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ma'am. Just again, please give us your name and address.
Okay, my name is Lori Hoyt, and I reside at 815 Lakewood Avenue in Schenectady. I am an advocate for Schenectady. I am not a naysayer, but I am opposed to the casino project. I'm certainly pro-development to that area. I would have loved to seen something like the chip plant that should have been here in our brownfield instead of going to Malta be developed here, but not a casino. My biggest reason that I'm opposed is I think that we're at a saturation point for casinos, and if we're not right now, we will be soon. Every city, state, everyone is trying to balance budgets based on gambling. I think we would need to create almost a public service project to increase people's desire to gamble at some point in order to have every community and state get the kind of revenue that they're projecting that we'll get. It bothers me that we're developing the riverfront for this project, a project that seems really short-sighted with the casino. If I believed it was the kind of project that would really last and add to the community's well-being, I might feel differently. However, positive impact of urban casinos is questionable. Those that do best are able to attract a majority of their clients from outside the region. Those that do not just take money from other businesses that people from the region would have spent here somewhere else. I don't believe Schenectady is set to attract the majority of its clients from outside our region, especially if a casino is already built in the Catskills and there's already gambling in Saratoga. I'm not opposed to any gambling, but I don't see any need to increase it. Most research does say that problem gambling does increase with proximity to gambling. No, not everyone has a problem, obviously, but why would we add to the possibility for that problem? I actually come from a childhood that was heavily impacted by addiction. It was not gambling, but anyone who comes from a family with addiction, there's a lot of addictive behaviors that are the same, and the impact on families is often the same. Someone earlier said, what does it matter about, it's too bad for the person who gambles, but we need to think about the children who are coming up and the opportunity for them. When you're in an addictive family, you're part of that whole system. It's not really that simple. You don't just kind of have this addict that stays in their own little room and doesn't impact anybody. So I hate to see it trivialized, that impact. Finally, I find something intuitively wrong with selling lotteries and now casinos as a way to fund schools.
Ms. Hoyt, I need you to summarize, please.
Okay. The values that we want our schools to transmit to students are basically the polar opposite of those that are used to convince people to gamble. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, now I do not have one more person. Come on up. Again, tell us your name and address, please.
My name is Bob Long. My name is Bob Long, retired Methodist pastor. I live at 833 Oregon Avenue. I was a pastor at Eastern Parkway Methodist Church for 9 years before retiring. I live in this area. I relate with Union College, Bethesda House, and other things in downtown Schenectady has been precious to me since I was a student here in the mid-50s, and I intend to be in this area for a long time. I'd like to look at a couple of distinctions. I have heard some things tonight that disturb me a bit. First of all, I'm against this proposal, and I'll say it right out. I have heard it equated that entertainment at Proctor's is the same probably as entertainment at the gambling facility that will be proposed. I want to say to you, they are not the same at all. Entertainment at Proctor's is something that brings to imagination, it brings creativity, it creates community, it creates togetherness, it creates people's inspiration to become their better selves. Gambling may be entertainment, but its chief business is to draw money for those who operate a profit-making big box business. I spent 9 years as the pastor of the Methodist Church in Saratoga. I had a lot of time to spend with people on the inside of gambling in Saratoga. I understand that less than 5%, by most people's estimates, of money that went through and goes through year after year, every gambling part of Saratoga, from the horses to Racino, etc., stays in Saratoga. And that 5% includes low-paying jobs with no benefits. It includes everything that goes to the local government. It includes the money that goes to entrepreneurs with businesses downtown. 5% out of hundreds of millions of dollars. There is not a gambling institution anywhere that has a personality that cares about the people on the other end. They do not know them as people. They understand them as sources of money. And so I want you to understand, we're talking about something that deals with people's lives in a very, very different way. Pocket change is what you are being offered back for whatever goes out from this city, and the money will go out from the poorest of the poor in the city. The ads you see in the highways show people who seem to have a lot of money. People who have a lot of money can put down a lot of money and maybe not get hurt, or know better how to do it. My understanding is, too, from the experience in Saratoga, that there will be a new and larger group of people coming from New York City, and they won't be the ones you always want.
Sir, I need you to summarize, please.
Okay, my thing is that I simply want to say this is a basically misinformed way to bring something great to a wonderful city. And I want to say, those of you who...
Sir, your time is up, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, at this point, I am going to declare this portion of the meeting closed. I will ask the council members if they have any additional questions for Mr. Bucco or Mr. Carlin before we move to the votes. No? Okay. At this point, then, first of all, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve the legislative agenda, which is the consent agenda. Mr. Kosier's moved it. Mr. Mudaveran has seconded it. All in favor? Aye. And then we'll move to the roll call vote on item number 4.
Item number 4, a resolution of the City of Schenectady in support of an application to develop and operate a gaming facility in the City of Schenectady.
All right, need someone to move that to the agenda? Okay, Mr. Kosier, is there a second? Mr. Mudaveran, all in favor? Aye. Okay, if the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Perazzo?
Well, I have to tell you, it's not always fun to be the first vote, but standing up feels really, really good right now. So I'm okay with it. I think most importantly for me, I want to thank everyone that came out tonight, because I feel like we had a diverse audience that came. Most often, they were very respectful, which I really appreciate, because it's very stressful for us as council members. I think people think, oh, we just make up our mind and we go with it and we're arrogant about it. That's not true. There's a lot weighing on this decision, and I know that I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. And, you know, tonight was not an easy night for us. They were engaged. I thought everyone was extremely well thought out and made excellent points. And I think that the feedback was really, really crucial. Everyone knows I was leaning towards supporting this, but I wasn't ready to make my decision until I heard from everybody this evening. As for the public hearing issue, I just want to point out that we had 4 public hearings tonight before the privilege of the floor for the legislative agenda. 3 of them had no one speak. 1 of them had 2 people speak. It is my experience, since I've been on this council, the most well-attended public hearing we've had has been maybe 10 to a dozen people. Tonight we had 60 or 70 people. I know that we all encouraged people to come out and speak, so I do take exception to that particular issue. I think we've had wonderful participation this evening. I understand the opposition that many people have expressed. I made a list, started making a list of pros and cons, but they've already been said, so I'm not going to repeat them. I want everyone to keep in mind that this is not the casino on the riverfront. This is a 2-phase development project. This is mixed use. This is residence, this is retail, this is a harbor, and it may be also a casino. We also have an economic development team, a developer, and an operator that are all truly professionals, and I believe that the conversations have only just started in finding our way, if this moves forward, to meet common ground so that the city is served as well as the citizens. I just want to, at the end of the day, between the emails that I've received, the privilege of the floor this evening, personal conversations that I've had engaging people, and also phone calls, for me, the good has outweighed the bad tonight. And I will be voting in favor of supporting the possibility of having a casino in Schenectady. So I vote aye.
Ms. Porterfield?
Thank you.
Well, I'm glad that I had the opportunity as well to listen to all of the comments that were made tonight. In addition to that, I've listened to all the points that have been made, phone calls, emails, from people from all walks of life, and also me engaging people in conversations about what is your position, because I think it's important to do that. In addition to that, I attended all the presentations and or meetings that I was invited to attend, because I think it's important that in order to make any decision, especially a decision that is as important as this one that we're about to make, it's important that you take all points into consideration. I've done that. In addition to that, I've done research on both the pros and cons of urban casinos specifically. Also keeping in mind that much of the research on the effects of gambling is paid for by the casino industry. But one of the other things a speaker actually alluded to it tonight is the report from the state comptroller, where it says that he's cautious about the benefits of casinos. Well, the comptroller is the guy, the big money guy. We pay him to look at what makes sense of the dollars and cents. And so if I'm going to use any data, it makes sense to me to look at the data that the comptroller has produced, because he doesn't really have any, as they say, skin in the game. His job is to look at it from a very objective point of view. There was a summary. In addition to that, there's a 34-page report, which I read, and I encourage other people to do, on the trends in New York State lottery revenues and gaming expansions, which is dated May 2014. So I'm not going to read the entire 34 pages for you, but there is a couple of things that I did pick up, and I just want to make mention of. Well, the report begins to talk about lotto and other casino gaming, it's called. And in this paragraph, it says, all told, legal gaming activity in New York totals well over $36 billion annually, excluding activity at Native American casinos and other charitable gaming activities. Some of those gambling dollars come from out-of-state residents, which we did hear about, who purchase lottery tickets and visit gaming facilities in the Empire State. Of course, New York also visit casinos elsewhere. While the regional market for this segment of consumers' disposable income may not yet be fully saturated, New York has become a more mature market as legal gambling has become more prevalent. The number of individuals who participate in the amounts they gamble have less potential for growth in the coming years than have been the case for over the past decades. So that makes me think about the financial and the social impact of having a casino and on the host municipality, as well as the surrounding communities. We've heard what the revenue would be, but in looking at the revenue, it's really also important that we look at what has to come out of the revenue. There would be a need for increased police and fire calls and other city services, as well as infrastructure. And even if the police aren't there because something happened, people going to a facility for gaming or anything else want to make sure that they feel comfortable with that they're there, so there would be a needed police presence. And the salaries, we got information on the salaries, and they seem extremely attractive, especially since the median income in the city of Schenectady is about $38,000. Well, if we consider that, the offer is above that, there would be very long lines for jobs way down Erie Boulevard to the 890 entrance. What the pay ranges that we're looking at are for larger cities where the median income and the cost of living is higher. And in order to get to an average, all salaries are taken in consideration, from the guy making $200,000 and maybe somebody making $20,000. And so I use the term guy because in the gaming industry, it seems like most in the upper management are men, from what I've seen in the research that I've done. Also, people talked about jobs and jobs that will come to the community. So the question becomes, will all the jobs be local? Well, absolutely not, because in order to run a casino efficiently, you would need people who have that skill set, and I don't know that we have that many people locally that have that skill set. So we'd have to certainly bring people in, and that just makes sense in order to have a working casino to get up right away. So all of the jobs wouldn't be local. Yes, we'd have people in culinary, secretarial, bookkeeping, custodial, and wait staff. Those people with that kind of experience would be hired. But in order to have the working casino, it can't just be done with recent graduates from the gaming school, and that would reduce the number of local jobs. I believe that the Riverfront project, as proposed by the Galicia Group, is great. And that particular project is awesome. The north side of the river of the project, as Mr. Bucco spoke about, I'm so much in favor of that. I've seen what he's plans on doing, and I think it's great. Also, we had a speaker that talked about more retail, and absolutely we do need more retail in the city of Schenectady, and I vote for that. We can't compare Schenectady to Pittsburgh, which has a major league football team as a draw, or I believe it's Turning Stone, which has a golf course right there. And so people come there for that, and then they also do other things as well. When people go to a casino, that's their destination. It's where they eat, it's at the closest restaurant, and so I believe that other businesses would suffer. I think that the improvements that we've seen downtown are awesome, and I don't want to see any loss of that to casino drawing away from that. I firmly believe in the economic development of the city. There's absolutely no question in that. I believe in job creation. I also believe that there are more sustainable ways to make this happen. There was a time when casinos were extremely beneficial to the surrounding communities and cities that got and then benefited from them. But based on the data, that time has passed, and some of those cities are now suffering, and the statistics are out there. So whenever you're deciding whether or not to pursue a business venture, you always want to look at the cost, whether the benefits outweigh the cost. And in my mind, based on the research I've done, it doesn't. Now, some of the speakers that came tonight talked about, well, we would have liked to have had a public hearing or a longer time to think about it. And maybe that's something that should have happened. It didn't happen, and this is where we are today. The net employment gains from the comptroller speak, it's likely, but overall then we see that it becomes displacing, as he says, to displace existing economic opportunity. So given that the new casinos are more accessible to out-of-state facilities, this is what from the comptroller, it's likely that New Yorkers will participate in casino gambling, and individuals who already visit casinos may do more so often. This suggests that new commercial casinos may increase the frequency of problem gambling among New Yorkers, something people talked about again. I have a lot of concerns about the casino. I certainly, again, will state it over and over again, I'm in favor of economic support, economic activity. What we've done downtown is absolutely fabulous. The project on the riverfront that the Galicia Group is proposing, I stand in support of that. But the piece of it that includes the casino, I am not in support of, so I would have to vote no.
Mr. Erickson?
So I appreciate everybody coming out tonight and speaking up. There's been quite a while we've spent hearing the pros and cons, and there are clearly pros and cons of a casino. There's upside, there's downside, there's potential risks, there's potential rewards. As I spent the last few weeks listening to people and talking to people, getting input from different perspectives, I learned a lot of information. I personally, not a gambler. No offense to the operators, you're not going to get too much of my money. I might go because it's in the city if we end up getting one, but I'm too tight in the wallet to put too much money into the machine. So it's not my cup of tea. However, there's a lot of things that aren't my cup of tea that other people do enjoy. And I talk to a lot of friends who do gamble. They'll go to a casino, they go to Vegas, they go to the Racino in Saratoga. Quite a few friends came up to me and said, well, my wife and I will go to the Racino, we'll go to dinner in downtown Saratoga, and then we go to the Racino for a little while, and then we go to a bar and have some drinks, and then we come home. That's a Saturday night activity. So I think there are some people who enjoy it, and I think there's an opportunity that would bring some economic benefit to the restaurants and the bars and the other activities. They tie it in with proctors. So I think there's some plus sides. There are the impacts on families as well. And there's a addictive behavior. Quite a few people came up with stories in family accounting of what happened in their family when they had addictive behavior, whether it's gambling, whether it's alcohol, or whether it's spending, shopping, or anything like that. There's a lot of things that are addictive, and it is my opinion that those things will occur regardless of where the casino is located. The referendum that was passed at the state level, where the majority of New Yorkers voted in favor of it on Election Day, determined that there will be a casino close to our homes. Where that casino is really up to the state at a future point. It could be in Schenectady, it could be in Saratoga, it could be in Albany, Rensselaer County. There's possibilities it could go just about anywhere. And if there's somebody who lives next door to you or in your family who has a gambling addiction, they're probably going to figure out a way to get to the next county over and participate. I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the questions that were brought up in terms of timing. I agree. We should have more time to talk about it and dig into more details. The timing is really driven, as far as I understand, more by the state, where the referendum was passed on Election Day, and then the state says, well, you have to have this letter of, this resolution of support or by, I think, the end of this month. So the state sets the term in which time we have to vote. At least that's what I understand. So we can put it off and wait another couple of months, but we've then missed the window, which is essentially a pass or a no vote. People talked about the estimates in terms of how much revenue would we see. There's no sure things. I think that the estimate that the state gave was $5.7 million. I'm willing to expect that it might not be that amount on the nose. It might be a little bit less. It could be a little bit more. I'm not the one that came up with the estimate, so I'm not sure exactly how it was derived, but I would feel reasonably close that if it was half as much or twice as much, would be well within that range, which would result in still a considerable amount of revenue for the hosting municipality. One of the other benefits I wanted to talk about is some of the people came up and said, we want different kind of jobs. We want high-paying jobs. We want manufacturing jobs. We want better jobs than casino jobs. A lot of companies, when they choose where to relocate, they want to relocate where they can find talented employees. And in the high-tech world, it's not a matter of putting an ad in the paper and the first 10 people that walk through the door are qualified employees. You have to get people who have options, people who are highly skilled and highly sought after. And those people want to move and live in places where they can have activities and quality of life and lots of things to do. And a casino is one of them. Not something that would interest me personally, but something that clearly interests quite a few people. So I think that if we want to attract those good jobs, the high-tech jobs, the manufacturing jobs, you have to provide a community in which there are lots of different activities, diverse activities. Not everyone is going to be something that I personally, or any of us personally, would want to do all of them, but a diverse selection. So one of the other points I guess somebody brought up was, if the casino doesn't make the revenue it's proposed, I would assume it would be like any other business that doesn't make the revenue, it would go out of business, just like American Locomotive did, 1960s, right? So it would be replaced hopefully quicker than 40 years later, 40-something years later, with another opportunity. It could succeed, it could fail. It's a risk that every business person takes. There's a lot of business leaders here. I don't think they open up the doors of their business thinking, oh yeah, it's a sure thing, I'm guaranteed to make tons of money. They take risks, and I think that's same true for this organization. They could succeed, or they may not, but Schenectady will persevere and move on to the next opportunity or prosper because of it. So I put a lot of thought into this, and my actual opinion has wavered back and forth as I talk to different people, and I struggled with it quite a bit, and I've talked with it with family members and people that I trust, and I've listened, and at this point I think the pros outweigh the cons, and so I vote in favor.
Mr. Crozier.
Yes.
Mr. Riggi.
Thank you. This is one of those issues that, since I've been involved, even coming to meetings, this has been something that certainly, it's split, and that's just the way it is. But I'm going to preface what I have to say tonight and read you some quotes from someone that we all know and respect. This is from an interview done in April of this year. You know, I've seen these dividing communities along almost a 50-50 threshold. If there's going to be an issue that people decide, if there's going to be a casino in the area, I hope it's going to be in a situation where it's not in a poor neighborhood because of the disproportional impact on the poor, he said. But in general, I'm concerned about us hinging our hopes for a better economy on casinos. I think there has to be a better way, a more straightforward way. What we have is a dependency or perhaps someone to lose their retirement check or their week's salary so that we can invest in children and their future through education. Somehow that doesn't make sense to me. I know people have been saying that equals jobs and provides for economic recovery. I don't know if the soundness of that recovery is as great as we would like to think. You look at the economy in Las Vegas and Nevada. It has not been that great. The property values have dipped precipitously, he added. I talked to my colleagues from Nevada. They have had tough times, and you see this growing number of states in the Northeast that are delving into this concept of casinos. I have to believe that there is a finite amount of money that people are able, not necessarily willing, but able to give. After that, you have drained some of those paychecks and retirement accounts. What's left? I think it was decided by the people of New York to go forward with this in theory. I just don't think it's the best reach we can make for a stronger economy. I agree with the governor's desire to fund more dollars for education. I just think there has to be a more fundamental revenue drivers that we can do. You look at the middle class income community taking it on the chin over the last decade or two. It's unreasonable, it's unacceptable, it's un-American. Now this comes from someone that we all know and respect, Congressman Paul Tonko. And I'm going to say I'm in agreement with Congressman Tonko on this issue. He's a learned man that's been in this area for many years, and he's seen the good and the bad. And this is, again, is one of those issues that not everybody is going to be happy. But when you look at, what's been offered, there hasn't been a cost-benefit analysis done for us to see. We're making a decision on something tonight, even for just the support of a possible casino being here. We really don't have the information to really make a good, conscious decision on this. That's really the bottom line. All that's presented to me, anyhow, is I had a phone call from Mr. Bucco, which was very nice. Any questions? We had the PowerPoint presentation. We don't have a cost analysis. Why, I don't know. As far as a public hearing, this tonight was not a public hearing, a true public hearing, which there would have been probably as many people, and it would have been set a record for public hearings. But that is something that we call for a public hearing. It's done in the next cycle, the public hearing. We talk about it in a committee, like we're going to talk about the 4 public hearings that were done tonight, and then it's either moved out of committee or not for us to vote on the following cycle. As far as the time frame, just because it was presented, I know that we can blame the state. We can blame the state all we want. I think this was out there for a while. Why it didn't come to us sooner to talk about is beyond me, but I think it should have been. I think the people have been shortchanged in their input. Their input tonight is fine, and I certainly listen to everybody, but all the research that I have done on this, and I've done a lot of research, I'm just not talking off the top of my head, and the area of casinos is saturated. It isn't like it was in the early 90s where there was only the Mohegan Sun and Foxwood and Atlantic City. It's different now. It's different. There's only so many dollars to go around. The last quick fix that we had in this city was in 2005. That was selling the tax liens. I was standing on that side of the rail and people were handing over big cardboard checks for $5 million to the city. Everybody was applauding. Well, that didn't work. There's no quick fixes. And Mayor, you always say it's a long, methodical process. And that's what this should be, a long, methodical process. Not a rush to judgment like what we have here tonight, because that's what it is. We're deciding on something that could impact Schenectady for years to come without enough information. So mainly because of that, and no other reason, I have to vote no.
Mr. Mutabaran.
Thank you. I would like to thank everyone that came out here tonight and speak. I just want to follow up with a couple of the questions from the speakers then. And the City of Schenectady share is estimated at $5.7 million. Also, we are projected to receive property tax levy and also sales tax growth. The casino revenue, as was displayed last week, is projected at $200 to $250 million. And the job, based on the presentation, the construction job is 16 plus 100, and permanent casino job is 1,200 plus. Parking, I mean, we are concerned about parking. There will be 2 parking lots available for parking of streetcars. This is not a pilot project. It is my understanding it is not a pilot project, and there will be no sales tax exemption during construction phase. We are talking about a $450 million investment in Schenectady. Phase 1 being $150 million, phase 2 being $300 million. Benefits, the host revenue of $5.7 million, quality jobs coming to Schenectady, increase local and regional economic activities, and increase tourism, expand entertainment option, including new hotels, banquet facilities, and things like that, and community development. Educational opportunity involving our SCCC with a gaming degree, property tax relief, and increase in sales tax. This project isn't tax exempt. Opportunity to renew our infrastructure, which is badly needed in Schenectady, where we can use some funding toward that. As with any investment, there is risk, and we need to take risks in Schenectady at this point in time to move forward and be positive. There's a lot of bads and good. Any investment, any business, and we know that as a businessman, there is good and bad, and we need to take that approach. I cannot, in good mind, voted against this. The Mohawk Harbor project is needed in Schenectady. Our business community has endorsed this project, and I voted yes.
Ms. King.
I too would like to thank everyone for coming, and I appreciate the fact that you did respect the 3-minute rule and you held back on a lot of the applause and all. And I think you made a lot of very valid points, but I am also among those who believe the pros outweigh the cons, and I vote aye. I think we have an excellent company.
Measure carries 5 yes, 2 no.
Okay. At this point, we have more business to deal with, but I know many of you are going to want to leave, so we're going to just take a brief recess so folks can go out. Room 110 is available if the media want to talk with Mr. Bucco or Mr. Carlin. All right, I'm going to reconvene the City Council meeting, and we will move to privilege of the floor regarding city business. I have about 7 or 8 people signed up here. Joe Rodriguez. Is Joe still here? Okay. Marva Isaacs? Okay. Linda Kelleher?
Good evening. I'm Linda Kelleher, and yes, I'm still here. A couple of announcements. June 24th, the Tri-Neighborhood Association is going to have a picnic at the Central Park Pavilion at 5:30. You can contact me at 860-6320. We'd love to see you there. I still do have to say that I'm disappointed in the council for not having a public hearing on this issue. I understand that there was a deadline, but I really believe that we had time to do this. It's been a 2-month process here. We should have had this way before, and there was a reason why we didn't have it way before. It didn't come to you. And that gaming program at SCC, it's not just a coincidence that we have a gaming program and now we have a gaming proposal in front of us. So I guess I would really like to have seen something more than just a Walmart without windows there. But hopefully the opponents will continue their fight at the New York State Gaming Commission. We are organizing. We will be there. We will be expressing our opinions. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Kelleher.
Mr. Mayor, Madam President, City Council, thank you once again for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I'm Joe Kelleher, and I am a resident here in the city of Schenectady. Just a couple things after hearing all of this and mentioning again that it took just a few minutes to find out some of these resources where I found the information that Ms. Porterfield mentioned, Mr. Riggi, and Ms. Brazo. All of you seem to have gathered all that same information, but have seemed to have forgotten that there's still a lot of residents out there that are adamantly opposed to this. And we knew about this opportunity last year, and the stuff didn't come about until these folks over that were sitting in the audience, the Galisi Group, Rush Street Gaming, came about with all this proposed budget. The Mohawk Harbor was already there to talk about, and where are all the people now that were for the city and wanted to bring business into the city? Where are they all now? That real business that is city and people like myself and my wife are talking about on a daily basis. They're not here. They decided not to stay. Granted, it's late, but sometimes you have to put in those late hours, just like all of you here doing your due diligence as city council members. We're here too as citizens. Now, on a better note, this weekend is the Flag Day celebrations. On Sunday, we are having a flag retirement ceremony at the American Legion, 1809 Union Street. We'd certainly appreciate some of you being there. It's going to happen at 9 o'clock in the morning. And of course, as always, on Saturday morning, we'll have breakfast for only $5. We hope you attend the retirement ceremony. In as much, we're also having the very first Veterans Run from the American Legion, and that's to benefit our Schenectady County veterans. If people are interested in the motorcycle run, it's only $20, $10 for the chicken barbecue that also is involved there. People who want to be in the run, they can come over to the American Legion and register between 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock in the morning. Or if they just are interested in coming for the chicken barbecue, that happens at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much once again, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Patricia McDonald? Jason Plank?
Madam President, City Council, Mayor, I'll be real quick. Got two announcements. On this Wednesday, June 11th, the Schenectady County Human Rights Commission at the Proctors from 6 to 8 is going to have a meeting on minority issues. And then June the 22nd will be the 15th anniversary of the 1999 Supreme Court case of Olmstead, dealing with integrated, desegregating populations of individuals with disabilities of not living in nursing homes and in group homes. Also at the Capitol, they're at 1 o'clock in the well. The adept that did the stand-in for 1 week at the Nursing Association is going to be doing Free Our People again, talking about community-based projects. So again, that's this Wednesday at 1 o'clock, and then Wednesday at 6 to 8 will be the Human Rights Commission at Proctor's. And then June the 22nd is the anniversary of the homestead. Thanks.
Thank you. Gonna have trouble with his name. Jamard Ralph? Okay.
Good evening, everybody. My topic is City Council, City Hall negligence. I'm a resident of Schenectady. I've been facing a problem since ever I got here, last year. I have received summons. Somebody fell on my premises. I have visited the city more than several times, complaining that the city have a huge tree in front of my house, damaging the sidewalk. It's penetrating on the foundation of my building. So anytime my building could go down, crushing with me and my family. I came to Mr. Chad, the city clerk. He gave me this paper here, stating the city council. I write to 3 of them. The first one I write to was Marion Potterfield. I called her. She said, oh, I got your letter, but I don't have time to check on it. Called to Miss John Motoveran. He come visit my property. You see how the sidewalk is damaged. You see in the state of my building. He said he's gonna do something. Talk to Mr. Vincent. He said, okay, I'm gonna take care. To date, nobody come, nobody check. I went back to Mr. Chad. He take me to the engineer department. They say, oh, you must have a pass for 2 weeks. How many 2 weeks do I have to pay $50 to get this pass and nobody come and check nothing? I went to the law department. They gave me 2 copies. Sue the city. That's what he said. I went to the mayor office. I reached a lady named Linda. She told me, she made a phone call to Mr. OLSEN, commissioner. Oh, the tree is healthy. Can't take it down. I made an appointment with Mega Hines that I want to see the mayor. Oh, you cannot see the mayor. You have to talk to the commission. Where I stand, what will I do? The city will allow my property to crush and kill me and my wife and my kids. I don't owe a cent in the city tax, school tax, I don't owe nothing. Or do I have to abandon my property and leave? I think this Schenectady encourages people to come here, but I am facing a problem. I need someone to answer my question, or else my house would go down with my family. I have nowhere to go. What will I do? I ask someone who can do something about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, I have no one else signed up, so I'm going to declare this portion of the meeting closed.
I didn't realize that when I came to sign the agenda on the legislature that Anderson also signed a separate one just for the privilege of the box floor. So I would like to quickly do those.
All right, come on up.
Thank you.
And again, tell us your name and address.
Okay, I'm Elaine Williams. I live at 1571 Bradley Street in Schenectady, and of course I just want to talk about what happened over here with the casino, and it just I know that you've given a lot of thought. I'm not blaming anybody for anything. You've given it your thought. You've said what you had to say, and I'm opposed to it. Thank you, Vince, and thank you for well, anyway, I just think something is not right. There are lots of people out here that are opposed to this, and they didn't even have a chance. Okay, something is not right. There is still time. It's not over yet because the Gaming Commission makes the final decision. So it is not over yet. I want people out there to know that they can still oppose this, and I'm going to do things. I'm going to do some networking and get some more signatures out there, and guaranteed I will find people that don't even know about this. So I'm still working on it, and there's something that just doesn't seem right that it went through so fast, and a lot of people don't even get to know know about it, and they need to know about it, and they need their voices heard, and if there's opposition that a lot of people are against this, it will be brought up. We're still working on it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I am declaring that portion of the meeting closed. We'll move to miscellaneous business of the council. Mr. Riggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ramnut's situation, I was told by Bill Misik the tree was coming down. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea, but his sidewalk was heaved. Somebody tripped. He got sued. He wants to cut the roots so he can fix the sidewalk. But then when he said the roots are pushing against his foundation, Mr. Mayor, Bill said, well, if that's the case, we have to take the tree down. So apparently there's a communication problem. Nobody got back to me to tell me anything different. So I'm not sure where the problem is. If you can follow up tomorrow and maybe find out for him and see what's going on with that. But it sounds like it's serious, so I think it's something that has to be looked at, and I appreciate that. And just quickly, I know we got to go. For those that are awake and still watching, I have to make a announcement for Bellevue Preservation. They're meeting this week. It'll be Wednesday the 11th instead of Thursday at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. Sheriff D'Agostino will discuss the program Project Lifesaver. Please note the date change. Usually they meet on Thursdays. The reason they're not meeting on Thursday is because the grand opening of Bellevue Farmers Market, third year, June 12th, 4 p.m. at Maranatha Ministries parking lot, 2176 Broadway. That's the corner of Thompson Street. New York State Ag and Markets Commissioner Richard Ball will cut the ribbon. A special music program for children provided by Terry Robin will be held from 4:30 to 5:30. Flutterbug the Clown will make creative twisted balloons. The market will be open every Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. So if you can go, show up at the market. They're doing great there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mudavaren.
Thank you. I just want to touch on Mr. Ramnut. I had the opportunity to go over there when I received the letter and phone call. And it's a serious health safety concern. I took picture and I sent it to Mr. Belmasaker, and I was told that the tree would be coming down in a week time, which was last Friday. And I'm surprised to know that he received a phone call and he's not getting that tree. It's a danger, and we need to look at it very carefully. I'm asking Mr. Mayor, Operation Director, please, if someone can look at it and listen to their concern. They have a legit concern. The guy has received a lawsuit. Someone fell down the sidewalk. It's a tree that's causing the sidewalk to lift up, and it's in a bad situation. I mean, look at the picture. I can email the picture to everyone tomorrow and hope that somebody can help this guy. Also, just a community announcement, the Mount Pleasant Neighborhood Association. The regular meeting is this Thursday, June 12th at 7 p.m., and it's at the Faith Deliverance Tabernacle Church. And they are having a speaker, the executive director from the Community Loan Fund, discussing community projects. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Porterfield.
Thank you. Thank you. And I have to apologize to the gentleman because I too was told the three of us actually discussed it briefly, and we were under this understanding that was taken care of. So I apologize that hasn't been done, although I can't cut it down personally, but I'm sorry that it hasn't been taken care of for you. But thank you for bringing it to our attention once again. I also want to clarify another announcement that was made regarding the forum that's going to be held this Wednesday at from 6 to 8 p.m. at Proctor's. The Schenectady County Human Rights Commission is doing a forum on diversity and inclusion. That is the topic. So it just it was narrowed down by how it was presented before. I just want to make sure that people understand it's about diversity, inclusion. It's a broader topic. In addition to that, I just wanted to announce that the Hamilton Hill Neighborhood Association has been working on some improvements in Jerry Burrell Park. We've been meeting there, and as you know, some other work has been done. And so we're looking for community input for people that utilize and live around the park. So this Saturday at 11 a.m., there will be a meeting held in the park. Free refreshments provided for people to come out and give their input on what they would like to see happen in the park. There will be a presentation on some of the suggestions for improvements in the park, and so there will be an opportunity for people to give their input on what they'd like to see. So I invite people to come, have a few hot dogs, and let's have a conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, we're not doing any trees in-house anymore. We're using outside contractors, so we get them together by neighborhood, bid it out, and so I don't know the specific status of that tree, but there's a number of them that are, again, in the pipeline to be either pruned or removed, depending on the condition of the tree. Yesterday, Phantom finished its run in Schenectady and brought approximately 33,000 people to downtown Schenectady. Again, shows the level of excitement and involvement that the downtown has. David Frank was instrumental in helping get our Google business view and the 360 online, so you can now go to the city website and do a virtual tour of City Hall. We're also encouraging businesses. Google has offered free websites to businesses that in the city of Schenectady that don't have a website. They will get it up, get it running, and help the businesses expand. And the 360 view is kind of an exciting progression of how you can do a search and tour businesses. And even though most of the people have left, I thank everyone for coming down, putting their input on this. Again, this is a long process. You know, it started last year with the actual election, and there'd been a considerable amount of time spent before that where the governor announced the conceptual idea, put it on the ballot, was approved by the voters. And again, for the Schenectady site, even if everybody was 100% in favor of it, it does not guarantee that we're going to get it. In this whole review, but it shows that Schenectady is able to create interest here in what is a $300 million proposal. And that shows the significance of where we have moved from a decade ago when downtown was still kind of challenging. You see 33,000 people coming to Proctor's. We're debating whether or not we should have a $300 million deal. And I appreciate people's input, but I think it's, again, really a good sign for the community that we have this dialogue at this level and this level of interest in the city of Schenectady. And thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Just two quick announcements. We're going to be doing some dog licensing at Central Park along with a rabies clinic on Saturday from 11 until 12. And I believe Saturday is also the Upper Union Street Strawberry Festival, which is always a lot of fun, lots of things for kids, great strawberries, you know, just an enjoyable event. So I encourage you, if you have some free time, to stop up there. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Riggi, seconded by Mr. Erickson. All in favor? Aye.